All right, everybody, it's that time of day again and that time of week. Welcome to War Commander Unshackled. Tonight, we're going to talk about some update notes and the infamous new units that are coming out for this month's event. Love them, like them, hate them, don't want to use them. That's up to you. But from what I've seen of these new units, they're going to be nice. So on our panel tonight, we have Venom, Fuck You, Destry, and I don't know your game name, but
Chad. It's just Chad.
Just Chad. So
the Chad is great.
Chad is fine.
Sometimes it's assless chaps, Chad.
Oh, assless chaps? Okay, with that being said, we're going to keep this a little classy tonight, guys. With that being said, let's try to keep our moans, groans, complaints to a bare minimum. So with that being said, as you can see, we have the new artwork that I've posted out there with the new unit right up there, up front. And in the background are little sharpshooters with the spotter. I wonder, what are these units going to be good for? So first off, we're going to do our patch notes. Commanders, the following changes and fixes have been applied on Wednesday. Today, March 16th, updates. Yes, the game is up for all of those that are out there. First thing that you'll notice is the new event that is coming up, Operation Source Code. Learn the truth about Onyx Awakening. Win the brand new unit, Sharpshooter unit, and the Galen, a single-use Caretaker hero. For those of you that love that Caretaker, this one's going to kick your butt. New features in the game, loot chest descriptions, components displayed in the loot chest now indicates which unit they can be equipped to, and click to see more details about your prize. Minimum range, hovering over a friendly unit with minimum range or utilizing the attack move command will now display a unit's minimum range. Unit organization in Tech Center, Academy, and Hangar. Units are now separated into different categories reflecting the era that these units were introduced. Alt-click, using the alt-click command on a platoon now allows you to enter move mode. Alt-clicking an empty hex opens the call platoon mode. Building descriptions, adding platoon capacity UI in the staging area. Defensive waves, adding a customizable timer to defense waves before the battle starts. Units in the waves will spawn after the timer has completed. Or you can use click start now to begin the wave. Here's a few bug fixes. An exploit where players can remove dead units from certain platoons has been fixed. I like that one. Fixed an issue where battle involved PvP aircraft platoons would not end after all units have been killed in the PvE base, aka stuck in attack. And after the reboot, most of that should have been solved. Fixed an issue where a player could spawn multiple seed squadrons in a single battle. Ooh. For those of you that were using that, shame on you. Fixed that issue within the Darkstorm boss bases where destroying the radar tower would not disable the aura after the first attempt. Unfortunately, guys, yes, you did fix this, but these notes came out after the last base was spawned. Give you credit for it, though. You did fix that issue. Fixed an issue where the power bar would appear on world map. Never had that issue. However, obviously there was that issue. With that being said, right now, let's go to the panel and see what their thoughts on this. We'll start off with Chad. You're up first. Chad. Okay. Let's skip Chad. Go to Destry. Destry. Goat Man.
I like a few of the things that you're talking about. I like the that where they're we're able to remove the dead certain platoons out of stuff. Sorry, my kid's crying.
It's okay. Gotta love it.
I like the other fix about the multiple C squadrons in a single battle. I've never seen it used or had it used on me, but I mean, if people are taking advantage of that, I'm glad to see it gone.
You and me both. So, anything else you want to add to that?
No, I'm not right at the moment.
Okay. All right. How about you, Venom? What are your thoughts on all this right now?
I didn't really see many of the issues that a lot of other players went through. So most of that didn't affect me. However, I have come across posts and pictures of the multiple suit squadron, and certainly, talking to you in the pre-show, I'm happy to hear that they fixed any issues that were exploiting repairs, because nobody deserves to have a one-up when it comes to repairs. So I'm always happy to see them fix issues as quickly as possible. I'll give them that. But there's other things that have just upset me that have not gotten rectified yet. So.
Oops.
Time will tell.
I pulled an idiot at one moment. I forgot to mute YouTube.
We all do it.
Yeah, it's okay. At least I'm not ending broadcast. All right. Chad, are you back yet?
I am.
The chat is great.
The chat is great. The chat is bad. So,
let me understand this. After just stepping back here and reading the bug fixes, so what units can we not take out of, or what can we not remove?
All right.
It says explain the players
I
can remove that.
I will try to explain this without going into true details. So we'll just say, for example, you had 3 dead plats in your standard, and mysteriously, miraculously, one ended up in your PvP and another one ended up in your raid. Thus, you had 3 plats repairing. That 2 of them at reduced rates. So,
I mean, the way that they wrote the post is a little contradictory to what the actual problem was. It wasn't so much that you were removing. Well, you were, but it was removing dead units and placing them into a position where they could actually repair where they should not have been able to be placed.
Okay, because I've never had that issue where I could do that.
Neither have I. Nor have I ever attempted. So
we just won't say how it was done.
Okay. Now that I understand, thank you.
So, other than that, what else are your thoughts on some of these other things that have been fixed, patched, and have to be brought up?
I'm very, very pleased that they've got my brain synapse firing on all levels, because they have gone back to Greek mythology for the names of their units. But we'll talk about that in the next section.
I wish I could show you guys all the UI changes that have been happening in the game, but unfortunately, I closed the game so that way the show does not flag out. Does anybody have the game loaded?
I do.
All right. Would you be so kind as to open up, let's say, your War Factory and screen share that, if you could, please?
Oh, you're asking a tall order with my lag.
Okay, never mind then.
Actually, it might be better because I just upgraded my internet. We'll see.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Hey, there you go. 2 tests in 1.
Yep.
That's while he's doing that. That's a really good topic about the War Factory. The one thing I would like to pose is there a possibility in the future, in the horizon, when they go through the next warpath several months down the road, that not only will it display the infamy that's gained over the attack, but also display in blue the number of the honors that have been exchanged in the attack log. That would be nice if they could just put that number, section that off, just put it next to, in obviously a different color, so that you could judge where your standings are, what you're doing as you're going.
Oh, I'm sorry. Click on your front center.
Where are you going?
I did notice that they rearranged the units of how they show.
Yeah. Yep, they
It's
did
not
that.
anymore the legendary units and all that.
It is now done by the way they were. So now, as you can see in your
You
War
gotta
Factory,
you gotta unclick off of yourself if you want to screen share him. By the way.
I have.
Oh, well, you're not. Well, let me check my TV.
Yeah. Who's got me screen sharing? Who's ever got me screen sharing?
Don't.
Oh, you know what? Skip. Yeah, make sure you click on him.
Yeah, Skip, you do. You're gonna have to click on him.
Did.
You're good now.
That's weird.
As you see, the unique teams are now at the top. These are the order of how they're introduced. So with that being said, that goes for both your airfield, your infantry field, and whatnot. So, which I kind of like. I mean, it kind of gives you the idea of, you know, your unique units, your war rig, your juggernaut, your dark storm, the growler, and then your air. Same principle. Your blackout, your herald, they're all going to be the main big hitters, big repair times.
I see. They separate them into generations.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like it. It makes it a little bit more easier on the eyes, I think. To me, anyway. I know some of you guys out there are probably going to love it. I personally, I love it. It's a change for the better. Makes it easier on you. What do you all think about it? We'll start off with Chad, since he's the one displaying it.
This would be great if they incorporate the same tab that we have in a workshop where we can go, you know, air only, or say we want generation 2 only instead of scrolling down.
That might actually be coming. Who knows? I mean, this may have been a test. With that being said, so just to see how it looks, anything is possible. Who's got their base showing?
I don't like all the extra scrolling. I mean, it'll take me a minute because you know how so many things in the game are like automatic. You know, in your head.
Yeah, see, I like this tab here.
Yeah, I love the workshop thing was added. The workshop thing where you would actually be able to click on the tech and then it actually shows you the progress. I like that. It looks like they're refining some of that with the graphics. I would like them to rework that list of the units more, but it looks like that they've made some good shift changes anyway. Some people won't like it because of just what I said. The things are so automatic, so it's in their head, and that's the way they like it, and because they don't like change. But to me, the changes make a lot of sense. I like the fact that they're Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. And if you think of a low-level player, some of these units, those guys don't even know what some of that stuff is. They don't even know what it is. They'll never build it. Somebody in their alliance tells them, don't build it. You're never going to use it. Don't worry about it. Just worry about this, 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 and this. And this seems to make it more organized, I guess, is what I'm looking at.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. It's a little bit more organized to me. And I mean, for somebody that's new coming into the game, they're never going to know the difference. This is how it's always going to be to them. So,
all right, I'm sorry, guys. Could I show something live?
Go for
it. Now, this was supposed to be fixed, and it's probably going to make a goddamn liar out of me when I do it. But look, I do have available 9 of these tires. Okay, I have the Diamond Tech on. It's already been worked. Now, watch what happens. And this only happens with this unit. Sorry, it takes a little while.
It's all right. I got a feeling it's going to say, you can't equip any more than that.
You're close. But look, this is what I have on the unit already. All I'm going to do is switch over my tires.
Okay.
I'll do just one.
And it looks like it's working.
Hold on. I think you got to count your chickens before they hatch.
All right.
the other thing is try 2 because you also
There it is. The
yeah.
infamous snow barrier error.
You have successfully equipped, and then there's a snow barrier.
Oh, that's not good. Have you sent the
And it's
ticket in?
only with the phalanx and the tires.
I'll
It's
have to
'cause
try
it's
it
a
out.
snow tire.
I know.
Yeah, when
but
you
I have
The snow tire. That's why you're getting the snow bear error. No, I'm just kidding.
That technically should be
I
cool.
appreciate you guys allowing me to show this though.
Right.
But I'm glad that you did it because you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go try it too to see if it does it to me.
All right.
Because it was doing it.
I've been reworking my phalanx. I almost said the diamond tech. Go ahead, Destry, make the joke. I've been reworking my phalanxes because I've been doing so many replications. I over replicated the plus 25 range. I have too many techs.
Did you get your diamond tech?
No, shut the fuck up about the
I didn't get. I didn't get the diamond tech. I'll be honest for the phalanx, but I did get it for the Sphinx.
It is a joke. I have every diamond tech that's ever been offered, except for the phalanx one, because we found out 24 hours before they decided to take it out. And we didn't have time to run raids. I don't even think we had any, and we didn't have the stuff to run the raids. If I had known, we would have done it. That's the only one. I'm like, it'll be there in a couple days when the intel bases come out on the map. Yeah, no. Now I'm gonna go try it because I want to see if it does that with my tires too. Because then if I can do it, and the same thing happens to me, then that proves it has nothing to do with your account. Yes, there are crazy things that happen, like Leinster's forever hookers, which he doesn't have anymore. That's a long story. But there are some people, my oil that goes backwards. I can't put any spec ops on my. We've had this conversation on a show before. There's not any one of those spec ops, the Dragonfly, the Jumbo Jet, the 18-wheeler, any one of those spec ops that if I turn them on, the metal works fine. The oil in the percentage that it's supposed to go up goes backwards. I end up with negative, and Kicks, I can't fix that in my base. So if I can replicate what Chad just did with just that one unit, then that's a good thing, because then if he sends a ticket and then I can say, yes, it's happening to me too, that's great, because then I'll just tell Kickside, log into my base and do it. You'll see what happens. Or they can say to me, hey, can you give me Chad's ID? And we'll log in and we'll see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what's freaking awesome about this team. Is that they're willing to just get in and say, hey, let's see what we can do, to get things fixed. Thanks for bringing that up there now when you did. That's pretty. I did want to say about the bug fixes and everything. I'm really glad those of you who are doing what you weren't supposed to be doing are no longer going to be able to do it. And I really think it's adorably cute that you just kept doing it anyway, because I just don't understand why you keep doing it, but because you know that you're going to get caught. So just throwing that out there. And as far as what was happening with the tunes, I'm really glad that was fixed too, because I know that was totally unintentional. And then people started telling only select people about it. So I'm glad Kickside jumped on that one right away. No, it doesn't have anything to do with money. You should be doing that shit anyway.
I agree with you totally. And ever since I started playing this game, and I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a damn long time. That's what we've all been after, is getting the damn hacks and the cheats and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they get on. I like that they get on time. I mean, come on, we're talking about long time for the shows, guys. Way back in the day. Hell, let's just talk about the Data King days, even if you want to. I don't care how long we've been dealing with some of this stuff. War Commander's always been the wicked stepchild when it came to that kind of things. Out of all of Kickside games, like, I mean, except for the gold hack, but you can use a gold hack in freaking Candy Crush. I don't know why you would, but okay. But this team is just like on it, it's like if they see it and you get a video to them, and they see it, and if I'm just going to say this publicly as a player, and I'm not going to use that term that I used to, you guys hear me say, as a player, I don't care if they let people do it for a little while so they can figure it out 100%. So it's not like a temporary fix. Does that make sense? Because if they say they're going to fix it and then
Then they
3 days later they're doing it again, that's just a temporary fix. If it means that if it means the twat waffles are allowed to use it a little bit longer than usual, so they can get the real hardcore fix, I'm all right with it. I know some other people might not agree with me on that one, but I like that they slip those things in. They don't tell anybody they're going to do it. They do a maintenance. I love that they do it right before an event.
Yep.
I
Surprise.
love it because there's an event coming and boom, bing bang boom, it's in there. I love it.
I've always loved when they've buttoned up something right before an event. You see the guys that you faced in battle and know that they were doing something unseemly, and they're always on the tops of those leaderboards and events. And then all of a sudden, this event, oh, they didn't make it so high.
Like, oh, I'm sorry. Or like you said, or like in a warpath, especially if it was a PvP kind of a thing. Where you knew that it was just really sucking for everybody in PvP to the point where, Kicksai's done so much to try to make PvP like kick ass. And, if the events are going to be good, and we got one, I know we're going to talk about it later, one hell of an event store list. If they're going to really start rocking PvP again, and then you see someone using manipulations that's just ruin it for everybody else. I love it when they drop one of these things, like you said, right before an event, and then boom. You're like, oh, you don't want to come into my base anymore and do this, this, and this? I'm sorry. I know. I tell you what, I'll take my tunes out. Bring something legit this time. I do. I like that kind of stuff. All right, I'm done now. I read through the other stuff, and you guys already know my comments, and the community looks like they're commenting on what they like and what they don't like.
Well, I like a little bit of subtle changes, honestly. So, and with these game manipulation stuff, and it's right before an event. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not going to get as high as you thought you would. So, with that being said, we're going to get on to the event stuff. The source code. Attention commanders. Prophecy of the machine god is spreading as the Onyx threat is ravaging the sector. Could the prophecy come to fruition? We need some backup if this is the case. Introducing the sharpshooter. The sharpshooter is a long-range infantry unit that can be customized with either stealth or additional range. The high-caliber rifle shreds infantry units. Its faction is Survivor. It is a Gen 3 unit. With that being said, just so everybody remembers, you unlock a platoon and a half of these things, which in a full plat is 12 at 3,000 space. You have to get 18 of these guys, and then you get unlimited builds. Its classification is a standard. The damage type is a burst. The functionality, it comes with a specialization component slot with 2 pre-built components to choose from. The sniper camo gives the sharpshooter stealth until it fires. The spotter spawns a spot unit alongside the sharpshooter that grants it additional range. If the spotter dies, the sharpshooter loses its range buff. A spotter will add additional range to every sharpshooter nearby. So, for those of you wondering what the range is on this, if I remember correctly, in Discord it was 550. The spotter gives it an additional plus 25 range. So theoretically, if this unit is an infantry unit, can it be put in your bunkers? I'm just wondering. Think of the range you get with that.
575 plus your tower.
So you'll get a nice little range buff. Will it outrange the Darkstorm aura?
That's a close call.
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering. So at level 10, you get Busted Status. This applies Busted Status to buildings, aka no last stand defenders. At level 20 talent, Play Dead. The sharpshooter has a chance to revive to battle 15 seconds after dying. Reviving is limited to 1 per battle per sharpshooter. So if you got 12 sharpshooters in there, you got the chance of it reviving itself for 15 seconds after it dies. After reviving in battle, the sharpshooter will be dead and requires full repairs. If the sharpshooter is the last living unit and he dies, the battle will end before he revives. So just remember that. He's a ground unit. Of course, I already said platoon count is 12. Win the sharpshooter from the Sentinel track or purchase it from the event store. Here's his little tech, the spotter. The spotter spawns in combat with the sharpshooter if you have the spotter component equipped. Not only does it grant the sharpshooter additional range, but it also acts as a great meat shield when things get a little hairy in combat. The faction type is Survivor. It is a Gen 3 unit. It is classification of a drone. So if you've got that support turret that deals damage to drones, oops. It is untargetable by buildings. Damage type is 0. It deals no damage. Functionality. It follows a sharpshooter around and grants him additional range. Shares the same durability, movement speed, turning speed as the sharpshooter. Now here comes the brand new single-use unit, the Galen. A
Gallon.
hero. The Gallon?
Gallon, yeah, or Galen.
Gallon.
It's a Greek. Yeah, I love this stuff. He was a Greek. He moved to Rome. He was a physician and and he wanted to make himself wealthy. So there you go. He was Greek, but he moved to Rome.
So this is your hero caretaker. Introducing the brand new single-use caretaker hero, Galen, equipped with a powerful protection barrier for, I like this one, ground, air, and high altitude.
Yes.
Galen designs the battlefield to his whim. He's a Sentinel faction unit. Type Generation 2 vehicle. I think that's it is a Generation 2. He's considered a single-use hero. Functionality protects ground. It protects ground, air, high altitude units within its range. Galen is 3 times more durable than the standard caretaker. Receives the Crusade talent at level 1. Crusade grants is greatly reduced damage for a short time after Galen's first takes damage. Units within half the range of the Galen's aura receives an additional reduction in damage by another 10%. Kind of like that one. When the single-use Galen from the mission tracks in Operation Source Code. So I love this artwork. Guys, you got to keep this up. I am eating it up. So on to the mission details. There are two tracks in this operation, each with a series of missions that scale in difficulty as you progress. Each mission contains increasingly powerful rewards. You achieve victory. Should you achieve, all players start with 4 replay tokens. The Operation Source Code runs a main and a Sentinel track. The event begins Thursday, May 17th at 10 a.m. Pacific time and ends Wednesday, May 23rd at 10 a.m. So, your main track, deployable units, all 12 attack missions. Enemy, Onyx. You have 4 defensive missions. Enemy, Onyx. Don't forget, if you can't beat that defensive wave, but you can do all the attacks, or at least you think you can skip those defense waves. So, mission 1 is a base defense, 2,500 XP, and 5 million Thor. Attack, wave 2, mission 2, attack, you get 5,000 XP. A random Gen 1 unit. That's good for you lower levels that don't have all these units. You're going to get a random one. Mission 3 is attack, 7,500. 2 random Gen 1 units. Mission 4 is attack, 10,000. And a mission 1, faction mission 1 unlock and a bronze cache. Mission 5 is a Bensta phase. I can't even talk today. Sorry, guys. Base defense, 15,000. 10 million Thor. 6 would be an attack, 20,000. 1 Galen. 7, 25,000. Bronze cache is the next one. 8 is 30,000 and a mission 2 faction track unlock and a silver cache. 9, you get a base defense again. 40,000. 15 million Thor. 10, 50,000. You get another Galen. Now you got mission 11. 60,000 silver cache. 12, 70,000 mission 3 unlock and a gold cache. Now 13 is 85,000. It's a defense and you get 20 million Thor. 14 is 100,000. 1 Galen. 15 is an attack. 120,000 gold cache. And 16, of course, you get the 150,000 mission 4 unlock and a boss cache. Your prize details: bronze cache, 3 Gen 2 Sentinel Tech, bronze, silver, or gold. The silver cache is 3 Gen 2 Sentinel Tech, silver or gold. The gold cache is 3 Gen 2 Sentinel tokens, all gold. The boss cache is 3 Envoy Tech, bronze, silver, or gold. And your random Gen 1 units roll for one of the following. You can get 3 Acolyte, 1 Purifier, 1 Vindicator, 1 Seeker, and 1 Valiant. All good units for lower levels. And some of the higher levels that don't have them. This is, so far, looking to be a good event. Your faction tracks, these missions only become available when you unlock them from the main track. Your units that you can use: only Sentinel. You have 4 attacks. Your enemy is the Onyx. Attack 1, first wave is 2,500, 3 random Gen 1 units. Attack wave 2 is 3 training tokens. Now, for those of you that have all of those training tokens for your Sentinels, well, guess what? You can use them and trade them in for tech to upgrade other units. So don't look this as a bad thing. This is a gift in a gift. So attack 3, you get 100,000 units, 2 sharpshooters, and 1 restart token. So for those of you that can't, get up all the way, try to get up to, get this third attack in your faction track, because you're going to get 2 sharpshooters and a restart token. Now wave mission 4, you're going to get 200,000, 4,000, and 4 sharpshooters and the trophy unlock, which is a kind of a sore subject for some of you, but it's for bragging rights. You were able to complete this whole thing. Now, the prize details. This is going to be a long list. So, that's going to be the gear shot, what's in your event store. So, your random 1 Gen units are for 1 roll. You get 3 Acolytes, 1 Purifier, 1 Vindicator, 1 Seeker, or 1 Valiant. Your training tokens are a random reroll: 1 Acolyte token, 1 Purifier token, 1 Vindicator token, 1 Seeker token, or 1 Valiant token. And what do you guys think of that? Who's up first? Who are we going to do first?
Go, Venom.
After this, we're going to do the prizes. And it's a long list, people. A very, very long list.
You can speed through the prize list. It's not that bad. It's standard. It's standard. We should all be accustomed to this by now. Again, they've limited the number of tracks, which is good. So it's for those that are willing to grind, you can grind through. Obviously, we have to get together all the XP payouts and see how that ranks amongst the past events, whether it's going to be good or bad or, basically different. It doesn't look too bad. 150,000 on wave 16, 120,000 on wave 15 in the main track is about right. And do you get that bonus in the faction track? 200,000. Yeah, so we'll see. It all is gonna boil down to how bad the waves are, what kind of stuff we end up having to face. And like it was asked in the YouTube chat, the spiders should be in this event. Wrong Thinker's last post about them was that they're basically what we're going to be facing for quite a while. So.
All right. Destry, what do you think? Destry. Do I got to make goat noises? No.
He might have had to mute up if his little boy was crying. You know, I want to speak to the roll word. Oh, I'm sorry, Chad was ready. But let me just slip that in there real quick because I need to check something with CM Bernie before I comment on something else. But just about the roll word, I know some of us have had a little bit of issues because you know the rolls and the re-rolls and all the other kind of stuff. I'd have to go into the archives, but I'm pretty for sure the reason why that word was changed. That word used to be lottery, chance. So because there was such a, I think this, I'm not saying this is, you know, like I know anything, but I went back and looked at one archive post the other day when we were talking about that word roll or re-roll. We had that whole conversation. I looked at an archive post that was put out of another event, and I realized, oh, this used to say lottery, and then we would get a list. So I guess maybe they just picked that word, you know, instead just to take lottery out and put the word roll in. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not going to ask Bernie, but I just noticed that I see that where the word lottery used to be, as far as, you know, them listing your chances of getting, these are the chances you can get from that arms cache. So they're using the word roll instead of chances or lottery. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's semantics.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's semantics. And you know, it's like there all the forum posts. I mean, in respect to being a moderator, then I will change back to that mode. Just hearing that over and over and over again, I get why maybe sometimes the semantics actually just kind of takes the negativity out of so many things. But go ahead, Chad. You go with what you have to do. I have to ask a question. I'll be right back.
Nope. It looks like we're in for the same kind of setup as the last two events where, you know, the Onyx was where we're facing the spiders. But looking at this artwork for the event store, I hope they're not foreshadowing new flying stuff that we're going to face here.
Good point.
You can see them. There's some sort of insect drone.
Yep, the Onyx drone by the looks of it. It's anything's possible. Destry, are you back yet? No. Skip, can you click on me, please? Thank you. All right. Well, with that being said, let's get on to the infamous prize list. So you got the event trophy. They're calling it the E77. After you've unlocked it, it's going to cost you $800,000. Now the sharpshooter's $375. It's still a Gen 3 unit, and the training tokens are $400,000. Now, for those of you that are probably complaining, this is pure speculation because of the Sphinx was a lot lower than this. I'm going to guess that it was put at that price because it was the very first Gen 3 unit. So this one's $400,000. You have the Kevlar seatbelts. It is for the Siege Squadron. That's $500,000. The comm system, another $500,000, and it's for the Siege Squadron. And the Riot Pods. All three tech are available. You can buy Siege Squadron parts at $100,000. You'll need 8. Then, of course, you have the Elite Siege Squadron at $100,000. You'll need 40 parts. Then you can buy the special pack of 4. $380,000. The infamous shock turret, the re-release. This is your last chance to get it for $400,000. And remember, they have added 2 additional levels last downtime. Didn't notice it until now. So you've got your 2 new drones, the Hornet and the Yellow Jacket. They're $750 a pop. Now, this is a nice reduction from when they first came out. Now, the following is all Hornet Tech at 300,000 a pop. Big reduction in price. The GK rounds, the Universal rounds, and Vector Armor, and the Carapace. I'm probably messing that one up. This one.
Carapace. Yep, it's fine.
All right. You have for the Yellow Jackets, 300,000 a pop. Still another reduction in the price from when it was first released. Big reduction in my eyes. You have the let's see here, GK payload, Universal payload, directional armor, and shell armor. Now your breachers have been reduced big time. So hang on. Is this the new price? Okay, so it was originally 56,000. Guess what? It's now half price. The technicals, what used to be 125,
That's
are now
the last event. They were 125. Prior to that, they were more, but yes, they reduced them even lower.
Yep, they reduced. Now these still are very viable units. The technicals, very viable. Nice for anti-air breachers. They have one hell of a punch. Some people love them. Some people hate them. Just remember, these are one-shotters on your phalanx. And technicals. So you also have the War Dog. Half price for last event at 45,000. The Sphinx, Gen 3 at 180,000. The Dracone, Gen 2 is 180,000. The Cyclops, 225,000. The Caretaker, 280. The Chaplain is 150. The tech for these, for the breachers, reduced in half from last event. Deflective Shield, 7,000. Steady Shield, 7,000. Your Arctic Tires, and these are for the technicals, Arctic Tires at 15.5. The Grip Tires at 15.5. For the War Dog, you have dog tags and spike collars at half price from last event, 8,750. Now for the Sphinx, resistant glass, 4,500. Heavy glass, 4,500. Your Dracon Tech, siege armor, 5,600. Technical armor, 5,600. For the Cyclops, deep treads and racing treads at 100,000. For the Caretaker, solid coil and zone coil, 70,000. For the Chaplain, heavy fuel and lightweight fuel, 37.5. You can get your weapons lab. Of course, you can buy, that's 30,000, 300,000. That's worth it, guys, to get that missile bastion or any other bastion. And you may come out with something new for this. You never know. Because it's been out a while. We're due for something new in this. So of course, you can always buy your chemicals, your cores, and your silicone, all 50,000. Of course, the cores are 20, the chemicals and silicones are 250. Now the Bastion resources, you can buy 1 core, 4 chemicals, or 4 silicone. Why that's in there, I'm not sure. But
silicone. Is that a 4 times package deal?
I'm
no,
guessing
it can't be.
No,
50,000 and then 1. Why would you want only? Well, either that's a typographical error or something. I don't know, but that
I'll
doesn't
check
make
on that
any
one.
sense.
I'm glad you scrolled that one.
While you're doing that, they need to give us one more level on the building and increase the volume of material that we can hold from that 200 to something respectable, so that you can hold enough to
give us another level so you can hold more.
Yeah, because quite frankly, it not so much the what is it, the silicone and the chemicals is already at 1,000 or whatever. We can hold enough. We can hold enough that'll support 2 build cycles.
Right.
Now we can still only build 1 and then place 1 and then build the second. But in between collection dates,
right,
it would be nice
all the time.
Yes, it would be nice to actually be able to hold more than the 200 or whatever cores, and be able to hold a substantial amount of cores in relation to the silicone and chemicals.
I'm so glad you brought it up, because okay, so in Australia it's going into winter, but where I am, it's spring, it's summer. Those bases aren't on I'm not saying they're not on the map enough. They are. But what if you can't get to them? Yes, okay, so you can wait to the event. The other thing that we brought up is we had an invasion, which my base has a different kind of setup.
Oh, yeah.
Then we have Warpath. I always have a missile bastion in my base for Warpath. And then we have the main event. Bing, bang, boom. I had to scrap my missile. I had to scrap one thing
To
from
put in your hammer or your
missile
pestle.
bastion for Warpath, right? And I mean, obviously, this I don't have to worry about it. But what about those times when you do? When I end up having to scrap what's in there, I still have a day and a half's worth of time. To me, I earned those resources. So I didn't get it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's like I didn't just get it for free. I earned them. It's just really, really frustrating that you have different setups for different kinds of things, is all I'm saying, for PvP and PvE, and then for the events. And so you end up, if you have to scrap a bastion because you have to switch something, you're throwing that stuff in the sand, just to do another. So I'm with you. Give us another level. Somebody will complain about, another building to upgrade. I'll
whatever.
Do it because I use my bastion.
I'd rather have that building to be able to be upgraded one level to give us,
Yes.
give us up to 500 cores.
Yeah.
That way we could scrap, rebuild, whatever.
I would do an odd number. You hold what do you hold? 2,000 in silicone and 2,000 in chemicals, correct?
Yes.
So how about 750 cores?
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm saying this, that's a very marked increase, but always keep in the back of your mind in the argument that we do not earn the resources on a straight plane. It comes sporadically. Sometimes you'll get 100 chemicals and 50 silicone. Sometimes you'll get 200 chemicals, 150 silicone. Sometimes you get 500, 200 silicone and 65. It's always an oddball number. You're still grinding through to collect to fill those quotients. So don't let them use that excuse. Well, if we give you that much, then you're just not going to participate in the collection as much. You still are, because you don't get that much out of each base. Same thing happens with the core bases. You'll get 35 or 15 or 25 or whatever. It's not like we're going to be getting 500 cores for one 50s bastion base. So.
I do remember when they first came out, the core bases did award anywhere from 20 to 200.
Yeah, so 750 means you're at least doing 4 or 5 of
Now I have yet to get that 200 again, but I'm okay with it.
Well, I don't know. What if I take a page out of Venom's book here and be devil's advocate? If we get another level to this building, let's say they give us room for 300 cores, but they give us the option of having 2 different bastions to build at the same time. Or you can store like your missile bastion and have a hammer you can build. So you have another slot for a different piece of equipment.
No, you're absolutely true, and believe me, I would love to see that myself. Technically, you can. Well, theoretically, you can build in place and build. So
yeah, but I'm talking about
hold, but you would like to be able. You'd like to be able to have one placed, have one built and stored, and be in the process of building a pseudo
different one. It has to be a different one though. It can't be the same thing that you already have stored.
How about this one, guys? I'm going to toss this out there. So let's say you have one built. Let's say you got a missile bastion. You got a vet coming up. Let's say we got an invasion coming up. How would you like to be able to store that missile bastion? And let's say it's got a day and a half left on it. All right. Store it. It still retains that day and a half. And then you can place the other one.
That works too.
I love the theories and I love the thinking, but I just don't see them getting it done without a series of problems.
Well, it's if they can do it, hang on. If they can do it, Venom. But it's going to come with its downfalls. I know that. It's going to come with its little glitches. We all know that, but they will eventually make it right, like they have done so far in the past. certain things have happened and they get fixed. Like the trophy issue, immediately. Before, we'd be sitting on it for months and people would be complaining. Eventually, we get pushed to the wayside. Not this group that we have now. The trophy issue was immediately when it was brought up to their attention, they ran a script and awarded it to a bunch of people that, So now you have, let's say, 2 bloody knuckles for those that have in this past invasion. It wasn't waited on and waited on, waited on. It was done on the fly to fix. So, I mean, it's growing pains for us, growing pains for them.
Look, here's the problem that I'll lay this out because that was a good statement. I mean, it's a good example. With this event, and this goes to show, I'm not ranting and raving, but this goes to show something that we've discussed a long time ago, which is the failure to invent new things but rehash old. So in the last Onslaught event, or excuse me, Warpath event, we got a trophy. The simplest thing they could have done was change the color of the fist from the metallic silver gray tone to a copper tone or a gold tone or whatever. The same exact character image, just change the color. And this way you could delineate the first one from the second. Instead, we have a carbon copy, bookend caretaker. This new sharpshooter, as I said in the pre-show, is it's the ghillie suit wearing,
we've seen it before.
Yes. I mean, look, change the camo, get rid of the ghillie suit, put something else on it. I don't care. Put fucking scuba gear and a goddamn pair of flip-flop. I don't care. But do the littlest things to promote an ever-growing game and not give me, personally speaking, the view that it's just static. It's not evolving anymore. And that scares me. But anyway, I digress. But the Bloody Knuckles thing, you're absolutely right. They had an issue where players were awarded 3, which was inaccurate, and they sorted it out right away, fixed it, ran the process to get it rectified. So absolute kudos. And they've been hunkering down and fixing bugs and glitches and exploits and everything, and I've always given them credit where credit's due. It's the little things it's like this. The things that hit them now, I have to give a lot of commendament to because they fix things as they come. The problem I see, though, is when they've been given 30, 60, 90 days to do something. That's where now they're falling on the wayside. It's almost like they're not putting in the preliminary effort so you don't have the issue. They just wait till the issue happens, and then we'll fix it when it comes. That's not the way I like to see things happen.
I'm going to play devil advocate on that one for you. Sometimes, I don't know if you're a coder or if you messed with code at all.
The only thing I've ever done in anything regarding computers was computer-aided design back in high school. We're talking 20-odd years ago.
So, as with everything, code does take time to write. It does take time to implement.
Oh, absolutely.
And, of course, there are going to be little bugs within that code. Unfortunately, it is the name of the game, and you won't see that bug in the testing environment. Works perfectly fine. Put it in a live environment. And
absolutely.
Certain things happen, and it's unforeseen. Yet this group is getting down on it quicker than anything I've ever seen in the past.
Well, I don't want to conflate the issue. It's not. I'm not specifically talking about glitches and errors in code writing. I'm talking about just the rendering aspect of it. Like, I can understand, okay, you come out with a trophy and there's a glitch where the trophy doesn't spin correctly, or it glitches out where you can't place it, or that's code, and I absolutely respect anybody who can read and write and understand any of that crazy crap. I mean, that's like, to me, that is like for me to go and try to read Japanese text vertical, and I couldn't do it.
And backwards.
Yeah.
Backwards.
Or okay. It's not backwards. It's correct. It's top to bottom the way you're supposed to read. we Americans are stupid. We go left to right, and then the poor left-handed person ends up smearing everything as they're writing across the page. No, I'm just joking.
Example that, Mark.
Okay. Oh, you see, there's a southpaw on the. I like that. But anyway, my thing is that it's not. I'm not talking about the code writing. I have respect for that, and I understand glitches and errors, and obviously I understand the complex issues where you write something and it inadvertently will affect something else, and the crazy stuff we've seen. Mine is more the pixel picture. Just that I don't see. That's my problem. Being that I'm not from that idea of writing code, to me it is drawing on a tablet a picture, and then that becomes the image. I understand you guys are typing in numbers and decimal points and letters and coefficients and mathematical equations, and then that becomes a box.
Yeah, we call it the difference between eye candy and language. So behind
yes,
it'll be 3 pages of language with layers of artwork that was artwork in a graphics design that had to be compressed, and then that had to be coded. So you're talking about layers and layers and layers, colors, outlines, backgrounds, then all that gets compressed. Then that artwork from the graphics guy, I'm not saying kicks high, I'm saying for other companies I work for, gets moved over to the code guy, and then it gets better. Then it has to go to a testing environment, which usually is just, does this walk right? Does it move right? I was in the trusted testers when the Special Forces came out. That was January 2015. Oh my gosh. It's like some of those Special Forces walk like they had 2x4s up their butt. Thank goodness we said that. And the it's funny that the Drakens do blue poof balls, but instead of like Kara, when she would turn, like she would get her bloodlust or whatever going on. Oh my gosh, when her bloodlust came on, the bullets came out blue. So the only way you would know that, but it was like really tiny, but it was like, and I was like, what the hell just happened? But then it would stop when our bloodlust would turn off. Again, we didn't even know what these units were. So yeah, we call it eye candy, or I do anyway. I call it eye candy and language. So behind the eye candy is all this language. So for some things, it may be pages. Oh, I want to say pages. I mean, literally pages of code. And for other things, it might be smaller. And I think maybe even, I mean, the guys have talked about it. It's been in Bernie's briefing. Maybe sometimes when they're putting those things together, it maybe did have a higher resolution. Better layers, better graphics, better color, it was sharper, it was crisper, it was cleaner. And then when they tested it, it was like, shit. So they took a couple layers out. And so maybe it doesn't look as pretty as it did when they started it. Okay. I could see that happening even with a trophy. If that's what they're doing for there not to be lag in our bases and lag in the game, because, you know, it's just got too many layers. And like you said, when a unit affects something else, it was something that they didn't plan on. So it's kind of like a residual after effect. I can understand if it's okay if they go out there and they actually test it and say, crap. Well, the unit's ready. We're ready to go with this. And we got to release it. Well, let's try this and see if it works better. Maybe they'll redefine it and fine tune it later. I've seen some things in my base already graphically, has nothing to do with me updating or upgrading my buildings, because I stare at that freaking base all the time because I'm not a PvPer, I'm a PvEer. I see already fine things that have been cleaned up inside the base. The grass looks a little bit crisper and cleaner. Maybe the lines of a certain building that used to be look kind of like shitty or blurry. The colors look better. The movements, like the tech center, you know, the buildings that have a lot more movement or lights, they just look crisper and cleaner. I like that. So maybe
and with that, it makes the performance of the game smoother because they're not only putting the efforts into cleaning up the image, but they're also cleaning up the functionality. I want to say this real quick because I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, and I want to get it out there, and then I'll shut the hell up so we can get on with the rest of the stuff. But basically, to your point, and this is what I wanted to say to the community so that they can get off the back of Kixeye. My pathetic little anger about it is the minor things, the most minuscule little changes, like I said, with changing the color of the fist on the trophy rather than just putting on an identical trophy per se. And I know that costs money and time, to even do something like that, to go and find where the color rendering is and change that number or coefficient or whatever. But to your point, and I can understand this, and I hope that maybe this makes sense to people who don't know, I look at it as if I'm a director of a film and I'm shooting something, I'm caring about the shapes and the colors and the contrasts and that kind of stuff. And that's me as a player looking at it and saying, oh, okay, this building looks cool, it does this, etc. You, on the other hand, as a code writer, I'm a director and I'm telling the art department I want this built. You, on the other hand, are reverse engineering it because I'm giving you the product and you have to actually write the novel that this whole thing is based on. You're writing the words that are supposed to turn my brain into showing me what the image is. And I'm just looking to take a picture of the image. So, I understand it's difficult. So I do have a lot of respect for Kixeye. But like I said, little things like that are kind of like, why couldn't you just change the color or change this? Not so much the texture, make it look like it's rusty or whatever. I'm just saying, just purple, blue, red. I don't care. Purple.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. All right.
Okay.
So back to reading this stuff here. So the sector goal points have been reduced from 500,000 to 400,000. That's a nice little drop there.
That's nice.
So your sector goal, the Omega Seed Squadron bases, return for the final time. Earn between 2 and 7 Omega Seed Squadron parts. If you reach the maximum amount of Omega parts, you'll receive 5 million Thor instead.
Wait, can I interrupt just real quick? So if you get the 5 million Thor instead, please don't blow the forums up because you got 5 million. You got all the parts. And if you can't see the parts, refresh your game.
Yep.
I just want to say that because if you get the fallback prize and you're like, what the hell? Where's my part? It's bad enough. One part. Just saying. Been there, done that. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like, but I understand that. But if you get the fallback prize and it's 5 million and it doesn't look like you have the parts, please just refresh your game. I promise the parts are there. So you don't go and please don't send a ticket until you've at least done all that. If you've done all that first, then grab a moderator, go into the Discord, grab somebody, or if you need to, send a ticket. But if you get that 5K, that's your indication you've got all your parts.
And I'm going to say this now. Public service announcement. Take a screenshot of it.
Yeah.
They're going to want it.
Yes,
if you don't
please.
take a screenshot of it, that's your own fault. We're telling you now.
Yes.
By the way, the Omega Seed Squadron bases are now blitzable.
Woo-hoo!
So does that mean we're going to get extra Seed Squadron parts? I'm wondering.
Interesting. For how much? That's what I want to say.
That's what I was about to say.
For how much?
How much is that blitz going to cost you? But is it worth it? Because remember when they do these packages, it's 99 gold for 10 parts. Let's see how many. So if you do the blitz and you get 7 parts, is it worth it for, let's say, 25 gold, 35 gold, maybe? It's the chance.
You know where that? Okay, here I'll play crazy advocate on that one. Okay, because a lot of people have said that they've only got one part after they got past so many parts. So I'll play crazy advocate on this one. Not this last event, but the event before. Out of the clear blue sky, after getting just one part, I'm like, oh, it's gonna take forever. I got 7. So yeah, hell yeah! If after I'm getting one part, and I'm so close to the end, and it's 25 gold to get for the 7, and I got a 7, I'll do it. I'll do it.
So, with that being said, here's your new components that you're going to get. The sniper camo. It goes on your sharpshooter. It is a specialization slot functionality. It gives your sniper stealth until it fires. Looks kind of interesting. The spotter. Sharpshooter. Specialization. It spawns a spotter and follows the sharpshooter around in battle, granting additional range, and that's plus 25. The Kevlar belt goes on your siege squadron. decoy squadron or improvised armor.
Yeah, that's the slot.
Functionality grants 30% resistance to ground attacks. That kind of looks like one of the trophies we got before. Oh, that is a trophy.
Oh, there it is.
So let me.
Yep, that's it. It's not the same as the screen. This is
Yeah.
different. But I would
It's a
like
little
to know what that says in binary.
Somebody's going to pick that
10010.
apart and find out what it says.
1100011110. It's a time code.
Like the Matrix. Actually, maybe that's a
It reminds
homage to Axel, who started that thread.
it reminds me of a Christmas story where it's like, don't forget to drink your Ovaltine.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, here is the picture of the sharpshooter, a little blown up for everybody.
And that's just real quick. That's with him with the camo. So you have to pick between whether or not you want the spotter or you want the camo. So that's him with the camo.
No. Wait a minute. Hold on, because I'm misinterpreting that. I thought the spotter would spawn with him.
You have to pick.
You have to pick between stealth.
You either have stealth or range. Oh, the spotter just is the range buff.
Yes, he's
Okay.
just a range buff.
But
He doesn't
when you
do anything.
But when you do the spotter and the range buff, he'll also act as a bit of a meat shield. Because
Yes,
he'll also
definitely is
take damage.
Yes.
Okay.
There's your
You get
spotter.
You get a bonus with that little dude.
Which
What?
is, if you look at the picture, there were a few people that looked at it, and I saw some comments. They didn't understand. Well, why if you look at the picture when you showed the components, that what he's looking through is like an advanced kind of binoculars. So when you go into your
the range
text
finding
center,
binoculars.
you're just going to see the rangefinder. Yes, when you go into the text center, you're just going to see that rangefinder. That's all you're going to see. So, but I mean, he is like a drone, but you're just going to see that the rangefinder, and that's what's going into your slot when you
right here.
Your yes, that's what's going into the slot. So there were some people that were a little confused about that. They didn't understand what that was all about. And there he is.
There's the Galen, your character.
Galen.
So,
And welcome to the sausage flats.
So my big question with the talent that it has, it says that units that are half the distance with the aura get an additional 10% less damage. So we're gonna have 2 rings of auras now with different colors.
yes.
That's a good question.
I'm gonna
I mean, I would think so.
I'm gonna guess maybe.
Yeah,
That's
because, I mean,
something we're gonna have to ask, or when the event starts and somebody gets it, we're gonna have to find it out.
I'll certainly test it. That is a given.
All right. Well, let's get back on to the next thing, which where'd the prize list go? I didn't see the prize list. What the hell? Yeah, hang on. I'm sure it's around here somewhere. Oh, yeah, this flying spider wasp. Somebody had to bring that up. I didn't see the prize list. It's one thing I missed.
prize list? You don't have the link?
You went over I thought you went over the event. The event prize, I thought, was at the top. I thought that was all underneath it.
Yeah,
You already went over that stuff.
yeah, we went over the prize list.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
I guess I did.
You glossed over.
I'm lost. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay. Well, since I liked it in that because it was so much to go over. I would like to mention because all the times I've ever had the honor of actually being as part of the shows or in the shows or being asked. Back in the day when we had more low levels, mid levels, brand new players, on the panels, they could speak for themselves, like Holly, Delta Bravo. Jim, when he was a lower level, he's right across from me. He's now 43 or 44. Been playing for 3 years. I'm sorry, 44. The prize list of reductions, that's to me is really awesome. I just want to remind the low levels and the mids. I'm sure the mids know, but when you get those technicals, all you have to do is unlock the cannons. So if you want it to be an air, the rocket air component, I'm sorry, I don't have the exact word for it. If you want it to be the flame cannon or you just want it to shoot fire. But the tires and all that stuff, all that tech, the technicals are a really kick butt unit for a low level player. And I know there's some people out there that I'm disappointed. I'll admit it as a player. So there must be something coming that I don't know about. Maybe even another gear store change or something, or they're going to put the phalanx bases out on the map again for tech and so on and so forth. I was disappointed there wasn't any phalanx tech. I did ask for it. I'll switch, roles for a second. I did ask for it. I did say that it was part of a wish list. We were asked for a wish list. There was a gear store post. There were so many people in that gear store post over, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago about the gear store update. What would you like to see new in the gear store? And overwhelmingly, people said that they wanted to see phalanxes. So if you're a low to mid-level player and you have these phalanxes that you want in the last event or the prior event, as you were doing the waves and you don't have the tech, especially the gold tech, and your workshop isn't higher, I'm going to keep pushing. But those technicals are really badass, and the breachers are badass because they will one-shot a phalanx. They will one-shot a technical. You can put them in your bunkers, in your towers. And also the chaplains are really, really kick-ass against the spiders. I'm just going to throw that out there. So if you've got the chaplains equipped properly and you use them the right way, you can spread them out, and especially for the spiders that regenerate, you can really, just park yourself some chaplains in there, and you put them right there on defend where the spiders would spawn, and they just burn the crap out of them. So it's just something to think about. If you're a low to mid-level player and you feel disappointed because you just don't feel like you can get enough XP, the fact that those things are less than half price of what they were when they originally came out, and now they're half price of what they were the last event. Definitely get your technicals. If you're wondering what to spend your XP on, if you're struggling through the event, get some technicals. Definitely get some technicals. If you don't know how to make the flame cannon, it's just something that you have to unlock in the workshop. It's really easy to do. So just keep that in mind. If you want to do even more damage against the spiders that are spawning, you put some technicals in on defend where they're spawning, and don't put the flame cannon on. Don't put the air rocket thing on it. Just let it shoot what it normally would shoot. It rips those spiders apart. I mean, you guys have all seen the Shadow Op videos where the guys just bring the technicals in and sit them there, and they put them on defend, and they literally just rip those spiders apart, including the blue ones. So yeah, you might get a couple nicks or two off of it with the blue poofy balls, but it rips them apart, and it rips them apart fast. So just, keep that in mind, the low levels that are disappointed. I'm disappointed too that there's nothing in there at all for the phalanxes. I'm right there with you. I've got 3 PMs from people on Discord that are saying, what the heck, Skip? We've been saying, and people have been asking, what would we like to see? And there's nothing in there for phalanx. I just want to tell you, it's not like it hasn't been mentioned. I don't even know the reasoning behind it, other than Kicksign must have something planned that we're just all not privy to. So get those units that are really, really low priced, and don't miss out on that. And one other thing I'd like to comment on, and I admit this is me as a player, when the Yellow Jackets came out and the Hornets came out, I did not get both techs. And I asked, well, which one's better because? And if you can, and you don't, so if you have a unit that comes out like the sharpshooter and you say, oh, well, I'd rather have the range than to have the camouflage. Kicksign never put something out for no reason. There has to be a reason. I waited 4 months after the Yellow Jackets and the Hornets came out for the tech to be back in the event store. I was so behind. So I won't give away my secret of why I use some tech on one and why I use the other tech on the others. But in this case, if you're going to get the sharpshooter and you're going to say, I'm just going to get this because I'd rather have the range. If you're one of those players and you have a lot of XP, or you're, thinking, should I even finish? I've been going 2 days and I don't think I'm going to use that stealth thing. Kickside doesn't put out a tech without a reason. Get both techs, because you might get stuck like me and have to wait 4 months when you see someone else using it in a video, oh yeah, I have a mixture of range and stealth, and here's why. Right now, I can't see it in my mind, but get both techs. If you don't use them, so what? You spent another couple hours in the event, but get both techs.
Now, can I rebut you on that, Skip?
Yeah,
especially when it comes to the stealth stuff. The stealth stuff is null and void with your towers and your bases. The Cyclops doesn't work. The stealth technology does nothing for you.
Okay.
The same goes with your Cyclones or your Owls.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not understanding why they're coming out with the stealth tech.
Well, again, this hold on. The one thing though is this stealth is the Dina stealth. It only exposes itself. I grant you, you're 100% right.
Oh, yeah.
The main thing for this is going to be in world map platoons. I can see the stealth on them if the damage output's there, the space is acceptable. In a defensive platoon on the map, or a sniping platoon on the map, where you can move it around and control it, and he doesn't know where you're coming from until you fire, he's hidden, or they're hidden. That becomes the issue. But you're right. In PvP, taking it into a base,
oh no,
it's you're so quickly, and not even PvP, but also PvE. We have the trailer spotlights. They act as additional radio towers. Kixeye is notorious for putting in multiple radio towers in bases. Kixeye is notorious for putting in many units out on the outskirts of the base map, where they're going to set off your cloaking. So yes, your exposure, I'm not being against you, Skip, but you're right. He's right. The exposure is going to be there, that they're going to be quickly decloaked, if they were the standard, whatever you want to call it, like Night Owls or what have you. But because this is a Dina Tech style cloaking, hopefully, hopefully this won't happen. But you're right. I don't know. I haven't really messed around with the Cyclops version.
Yeah, I was. That's one of the ones.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that it was one of the questions that had come up to the team, and I mean, I'll just throw it out there. And in a group of players, when the team got together with those players and asked, of what's your most disappointing unit, what's your most underpowered unit, definitely the Cyclops came up about that, and they all said the same thing about the stealth. So there were several Kixeye team members in that group of people, of those players, and they heard that loud and clear from the players, especially about the Cyclops, was one of those disappointing kind of units, like the Disruptor being way underpowered. And I remembered way back in the day, because I do remember, I have to find the post, but Wrong Thinker had said in one of those Q&As, they said, well, if it's really going to be doing X, Y, and Z, it should be doing this. And Wrong Thinker had said, well, originally when the Disruptor came out, we thought it was a little OP'd, so we dialed it back. Perhaps we dialed it back too much. So I think maybe with the Cyclops, I think that maybe that's part of it. I think maybe they thought it was too stealthy, and maybe they dialed it back, and so they can take a look at that. I'm like, the first thing I was thinking, and Venom kind of like got me there, I was hoping to tuck that one away, but that's okay, was I would love to put that in a tune around my base or something, or to take it over at another base, just to, sniggle niggle with somebody, and to have one of those snipers in there with the stealth, and maybe have a sniper or two in there without the stealth that has the range, and I take them off, so he thinks he's getting those two, and I'm running. I mean, like I used to do with my ninjas, the infiltrators. I'm running around with my ninja in the corner. Oh, here he comes. I'm running in the opposite corner, doing my zigzag pattern, because all you're doing is taking up their time. Eventually, they'll probably figure you out. They'll use the squadron or whatever to try to find you. But
look, that has two bonuses. That has two unforeseen bonuses. You're dead on before you escape this comment. Is with the new morale system, if you can run that clock down, when the timer's done, that player that attacked you that couldn't defeat you
Yes.
will lose their points.
I love it.
I guess I'm lucky I get good at finding people's students.
Well, yeah.
I love it. And that's why I said, if you, because when we talk about, oh, they put a poly in the middle or they put a detonator in the middle. Okay, fine. Well, mix it up so that there's something for them to target and then use some misdirection. And I used to do that with the ninjas all the time. And excuse me, put something else in there that they would target and spread them out, or use the X key, or real quick highlight 2 and send them to the the southeast, and then do 2 to the southwest. And then in the meantime, my stealth target was going someplace else, and there are arrows all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And they can't find my stealth target if I'm moving it. Yes, I'd have to be online. So I'm looking forward to doing it for that reason. For any other reason is just like you said, Venom. So it wastes time, and then they end up, not being able to defeat me because they can't find it. I think that's going to be kind of cool. Hiding 1 or 2 somewhere in my base, behind a trophy, or behind something else, or next to a building or something, and then it doesn't fire until, the last minute. I mean, it says long range. So, and then, just thinking about it, if you mix it in with a long range, I don't know. It's just, he's got a rifle. I'm interested to see what the stats are on it. That's what I'd like to see.
Well, let's see. The max, the only thing that's questioning me is maximum platoon is 3,000, correct? 3,000 space.
Mm-hmm.
Their platoon capacity is 12. That puts them at a space of the same as Draken, 250.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. They're 250 each. Yeah, as long as their range, because what is the buff that a tower gives you for range?
50%.
50%. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a 50 range, it's 50%.
Yes.
Forgive me, Troy, out there in the wiki land. I know not what I speak of. Okay. All right. So until I have it to know exactly and play with it, because I'm thinking Drakens, this guy with the range tech in a tower. Yeah. It only comes down to the
massive damage to it.
Yeah, it's got to have massive damage. If it doesn't have, a damage of, say, like 150,000 or 200,000 or something like that at range, it might not be worth it. If it's got something like 32,000 damage, like or whatever, it's got to be better than a breacher.
And I think definitely. I'm thinking I'm not 100% sure. Oh, it's 250. Jim was doing the math on it. It's
space.
Space.
Yeah, I'm just wondering though if it's going to be able to target
air
missiles and.
I think there was some kind of I could be mistaken. I could go through. I just closed my Discord for a minute because it was acting weird, and there was a lot of people that were in there doing weird stuff on one of the other channels. I think it was mentioned. I think this is supposed to be Gen 3. I think it's supposed to be as durable or probably more durable than a Draken. So I'm thinking I'm thinking about, probably, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like when they bring something out like that, that's similar, that the next thing they bring out that's like that, it's not weaker. I can see this one having, definitely having more firepower. I could see it, like you said, you put it in your towers. I mean, I could see it, really wrecking somebody's Darkstorm. Not any one thing being the anti-Darkstorm. We talk about that all the time, the anti-this or the anti-that. A combination of things is anti-any unit.
Yes.
So I can see, especially if he has the same amount of range as a Draken, and he's as durable, as a Draken, or I don't know, pick one. A Liberator. My Liberators are especially tricked out, or I could do VK50s all day long and only take an hour's damage. Or hour and a half.
Hang on. Here's one thing from CM Bernie. So its initial range is 550.
Okay.
Up to level 20. When it hits level 20, it goes up to 575.
Okay.
With that being said, you add the spotter to it.
You get 600 range at max.
600 range max.
All right, now
Put him
understand
in
what you have.
Tower, bunker, or stronghold. What should some of them give you range buff?
900.
Yeah.
Maybe 900, which would be now that hold on.
The only thing he did not give stats on for this unit was its health and the damage DPS or damage.
It's not even a matter of DPS. If it goes to real life situations, understand this unit will still not be a game changer end all be all. If it gets 900, that is awesome. That is excellent. Its DPS, I pray, is massive. However, its rate of fire is going to be shit. If it is a sharpshooter, it will have a very slow rate of fire, a slow
the original one did.
reload. Okay, so it might put that first damage out there, and it might take a huge chunk. It might get one shot, maybe two, but after that, I don't see it being an effective base defense tool without getting the bunker, taking down the bunker. So, just as a precautionary.
As somebody says out there, it's the new sniper.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is. It's
or improved commando, as somebody's saying.
It's our marksman revisited. But I will say this: hopefully, along with these two components, later down the line, maybe we'll see a tech that adds corrosion. If they give a corrosive bullet, then I would say this unit would be right on point, and it would be goes to kick side, because the corrosion component, adding damage over time, making other units damage increase, has always been a good thing. So maybe that's what we can hope for.
Let's see here. You can possibly have armor piercing rounds that do massive amounts of damage. You could have exploding round. You could have corrosion. You can have a shock. But I mean, I'm wondering if they do that shock, is it going to be a specialized shock? So, but I mean, there's so many things that they can add to this. We don't know the tech they're going to add to it. We won't find that out until Shadow Ops after the event. So, but it's going to be interesting to see what kind of tech they release for this, because they are kind of like the technicals. I mean, you get free unlocking of your camo and your spotter, just like the technicals got your Rocket Man and your Burning Man. So,
and again, like as Skip was saying, for the lower levels, it is a component that's already there when you have the unit, and you can equip it and unequip it to change your technical to whatever you want to do, either the standard machine gun or the Burning Man flamethrower or the Rocket Man anti-air rocket.
Right. With that being said, for those lower levels, I mean, let me get back to the thing here. Hang on, where is it? Where they've listed the waves. So, if the lower levels you can get and beat wave 12, okay, you get that faction unlock, that faction 3 unlock. And then you can get to here.
Right.
Keep going. If you can get on the faction track to 3, keep going as much as you can. Because each time you beat this one right here, you're going to get that restart token.
Yep.
And you're going to get your 2
And you're going to get 2 sharpshooters, and you're going to get a gold. If you scroll up just a little bit, you get a gold. You
get that gold cache.
Yes, you get the gold cache. Yep.
So just think about that for you low levels out there. Even if you're high levels, if you're in for the grind and you want to just keep doing this over and over again, just remember you got to get 18 of these guys for the unlimited builds. So, but I mean, the lower levels can get massive amounts of XP and can get some very good units on top of your random Gen 1 units. Not all of them are very good still. Some of them are really great. I mean, Phalanx are still viable. I love mine. So with that being said, I mean, you got to consider all that. Well, with that being said, let's get on with some thoughts on here or questions out in YouTube that we might try to answer for you all. So,
yeah, I mean, is there anybody out at YouTube that has any specific questions that they wanted to ask?
Well, Animal's upset that you've been displaying your artwork for the majority of the time.
Well, yeah, I was going to switch it around because he wanted us to switch back between the units that we were talking about. Those units are on the artwork, but I hear what he's saying. I mean, it's...
So you want it here? How about the trophy? There.
I can here. You know what? Oh no, I haven't done anything all this time, so I can screen share. Presenting it. See, there's my trophy.
I'm a little biased. I want to stare at Skipjack.
Hang on. Where the hell is Hunter? Hunter, where are you? I want to put you in time out.
Me?
You want to put
Hunter you did? I just well, since you said that, we'll just throw that out there. Again, there are a few people who are saying, oh, well, you know, another one-time use. You don't have to get the sharpshooter. You're going to be getting the sharpshooter. If you can make it to that level, you're going to get it. It's just something that you're going to get, and it's one-time use, and it doesn't take up any space, and it gives you a chance to use it in the event right away. But it gives you a chance to use it, play around with it, find out what it's good for, etc., etc. I like those kinds of things. You know, remember when the Skipjack unit came out, there were so many jokes about how many they had. You know, it was like Scooby's joke was, it says, I have 6 months worth of days and nights with Skipjack, because that's how many Skipjacks he had earned. I mean, it was kind of a joke, but every single one of the heroes that we've got that were one-time use heroes, they do come out as perm heroes. So use them now while you have multiples of them, and try them in different things. And if you lose it, you know, like the time when I got the poly and I took it into one of those cave bases just for fun, because I was waiting for my stuff to heal, and it was one of those cave bases that wasn't easy, okay? And you had to buy an electric op to get it finished. And I was waiting for my stuff to heal, and I'm like, what the heck? Let me throw one in it. I had a bunch of them. She ripped that base apart. That was like, I don't remember when that was, but when she came out as one-time hero, she ripped the base a new you-know-what. And I was so disappointed because she only had like one full square and half of another green square gone. I was like, oh, man. I can't believe I wasted it on that. I mean, obviously, it's not good for everything, but give them a try. I think I like the concept of one-time use and then the permanent units. And I don't know if anybody in the YouTube chat's going to ask, but the way that it usually runs is the one-time uses come out. So I would expect, like for my unit or whatever, I would expect, just because I know the timing of when it came out, I would expect that to be, obviously it didn't come out in this, maybe like the next event or the following one. I mean, if I look at when Max came out, and I look at when Polly came out, because I really started paying attention to that, I would think that the permanent Skipjack unit will probably come out like either the next event or the next one after. I'm pretty for sure.
Max was delayed. Max was a little longer.
Yeah, Max ended up. That's why I try not to use that as a whatever you want to call it, as a benchmark. Yeah, as a benchmark kind of a thing.
Now, I'm going to say this for those out there. You know, this is the Sentinel faction track. The next should be all three. Now, with the prize list being the way it is, think about it. They're going to probably put a heck of a lot more prizes and probably bring back some stuff for where it's all three factions.
Don't forget, you're going to get the bases for the marksmen for your tokens soon, too.
Right.
So just remember that. So, I mean, usually when they combine all three, that list goes, holy crap. So,
yeah.
I mean, the last one where they combined all three, it was that that event store prize list was holy crap. Now, for the guys that already had most of that stuff, it was, one thing. But for the lower levels, it gave them a chance, to get certain tech, and some of these packages also that are coming out for some people are like, some of these guys are really biting the bullet. Do I buy this? I'm like going, well, how many of this do you have? Well, I've only got 2 caretakers. I said, then buy the thing. It's worth it. For you, those caretakers can take a beating. They save some of your units in the long run. Like your Juggernaut, which in PvP plat is 8.5 hours. In a regular, it's 15. You use a caretaker, and that's all you lose. That's what, an hour and 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah, but you can pull it out, put it over in a regular platoon, let that repair, and swap it for a fresh one. So.
Or you pull a Debo, scrap it, rebuild it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not him.
So for those of you that like me, I've got well over 300,000 Thor or 300 million Thor for this event. So I mean, I could do that, but I save my Thor for missiles, and the minute I buy the new tech, it is immediately maxed. So, I mean, that it is what it is. So May 25th is going to be the sharpshooter bases. So
yes,
basically right after the event, we're going to be getting pieces out. So just think about that. And it's also basically you look at them, and it's free tokens for those of you that have the units maxed, or if you want to max those units, you're going to get free tokens. Basically, you can scrap them and reuse them, or do brain fart. You can scrap the tokens that you're going to get from that, and use it to max something else. So text them out. There you go.
Text them out. Awesome. I posted something in the side chat since we have a shorter panel, and none of you guys were part of that. Are you guys cool with that? I'll just ask the questions because I mean, it's okay that stuff is out there, but since we have a shorter panel, and I mean, I know we're running a little long, but even the people on the YouTube could comment. Because you guys weren't on the panel, but I would love to hear your thoughts on those questions.
All right, hang on. I'm going to bring up something because I know this was brought up in the panel, even though I wasn't on it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. I have it, so I actually have the list. So I was just kind of wondering if I ask the questions and then you guys kind of go through what you think.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to show this picture because I know this was one of them. Hang on. I'll post it up there so everybody can see it. This was about. I know this was in the discussion group. It was about the walls.
Oh yeah, that's what I actually made a thing about that to discuss.
So, let me bring it up so you can all see it. But this is from.
That's from Rogue Assault.
War Commander Rogue Assault.
This is from Rogue Assault. So.
I already don't like it.
Well, hang on. So I know this was discussed as this would actually hopefully reduce the load time in your base, the lag a little bit in your base, because each individual wall is technically a moving piece. This was brought up by, if I remember correctly, Wrong Thinker at one point in time. The discussion on this.
It's a link. So you see those links. So and you see the different colors. So you see how they are. They're big sections of walls. So you know how you pick up, and let's just say you had your walls around your bunkers, and let's just say that's 6 wall pieces. That would just be a block. It's a block of walls. The reason why that picture, showing that picture, my War Commander Rogue Assault walls all look the same. The ones where the explanation point is at the bottom, that's the lowest. That's not the lowest level wall. It's the lowest level wall. The first walls that you get are just barbed wire with wood.
This is actually the exclamation point is the
right. But
no, she uses it as a focal point for what walls to look at.
I'm saying for the people who are looking at it. So that's that whole section there. So using David's picture, that whole section there that looks like poured concrete, like you see on the highway, more like a median
Jersey divider.
Yes, that is like I believe the second level wall. So the other walls that are bigger and fatter that look like the yellow and white, and like the orange on the top. So those aren't individual pieces. That whole section that's another color, you pick up that whole thing and move it. And then the ones that look like concrete, but then they have like rebar sticking out of the top of them. The ones that are up farther, again, it's a whole section of walls that you can pick up and move. And you pick the whole thing up and you move it, and then it's easier to connect. You see how you can overlap them, or they can link together, or you can offset them. So
Understood. And yeah, I made a thing talking about this idea. So what you're saying is, all right, from looking at the exclamation point as a reference area to look in the picture, what appears to be 3 separate large pyramid-shaped blocks is actually one physical block component.
Yep.
All 3 of those are moved in one section.
In one big section, you cannot separate them. That's why that's one thing in War Commander Rogue Assault that I don't like, because you really can't finite around very tightly. You are hampered. You get that rectangle. You basically get boxes and rectangles. That's what you get, or lines. But you can't put. I mean,
but you can rotate them 90 degrees.
You can't put them diagonally either.
No, but it's 90 degrees. So it's you have a north south, or an east west.
You and I know what that means. That's what I said. So that's
you have a north south line or an east west line. That's it.
That's it. And that's my only, if they want to go that route, okay.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I don't like the idea either. However, let's say you combine, let's say, 4 walls into one big wall, or into, say, a semicircle.
What I'm saying, if you'd show what I did. So basically, I took what was stated on the other when this question was brought up. Am I presenting?
Sorry. There you go.
So basically, I
wasn't sure what that picture was, and I was like, "Is he?" Oh, that's so cute.
Says love.
It says love, and I realized it says love. Okay, go ahead.
No, it doesn't. It just happened to.
It looks like it. It looks like it now.
If they were to do their plan, basically everybody can understand this system. It's the same game that I used to love as a child, But my point, hopefully you can see my cursor on this. These are just standard shapes that I would love for them to do. If they want to do it this way as a larger component, instead of individual blocks, having connected blocks like this, 4 in a length, or 4 with an L, or 4 in a T, or 4 in a zigzag. And for those that want the circular base design, 4 by half offset gives you that crescent shape that when stacked against each other, you can combine them into that circular shape, as well as 4 interconnected for a completely impenetrable wall, and the 4 by 4 by 4, which would be hopefully the size that would encompass, say, a power plant would go inside, or whatever the standard footprint is. Obviously, if you have something that's larger than that footprint, then you'd have to double up things like maybe 8 by 8 by 8. This kind of a setup, if they gave us basically a series of predetermined shapes that would be able to be deployed, for lack of a better term, and each one of these shapes would render a lot easier than the individual singular little square, that I would be more attuned to than what goes on in Rogue Assault. Also, having the ability to rotate these in the 4 directions. So you'd have a 360-degree version. You'd have the point up, point to the right, point to the left, and point to the bottom, or a 7 and L, et cetera, et cetera. That is the only way that I, as a player, could see this being a benefit to, or not just totally disrupting base design plans. Because if you do, like you say, with what they have over there in the other screen, you can take me off now. I don't need to show all this shit forever. But if they do what they have in the Rogue Assault, that it's going to hamper the hell out of you. One, you cannot necessarily surround certain shapes, because if you have something like a CC, or you put out, for me personally in game, I have my railgun, I have 2 support bastions to the left and right of it, and I have a avalanche turret in front. Now I want to make a shape that's a triangle facing on the southeast and facing to the southwest, so that buffers an attack from that lower right corner or lower left corner. If I can only make a wall that is completely east-west, then, you know, it prevents me. I end up with a massive amount of empty void between the 2 linked, the L on either side that acts as a buffer, as a blockage. That's the kind of stuff that I'm afraid of.
I like this, how you present. Sorry.
Oops.
Would you mute him?
No.
I think he was saying basically I can kind of make it out. He was kind of going at you.
You say that. Yeah, I like how you present something and then
But
well, can we? I mean, do you mind just to kind of go through it? Because I mean, I know you don't want to go over, but I really think that
go through.
the information. It's not that I don't mind the speculation, but I think I have like some really hardcore, solid answers.
All right. Well, let's go.
You can pick whatever kind of picture you want, or we can go. You can, if we want to. I don't know if anybody wants to watch the gears grind, or I can present you, and you can change pictures when you want to. How you want to do it?
Doesn't matter. Let's just do the gear grinding.
Okay, we'll do the gear grinding head. All right, so we don't.
Yeah, but it doesn't grind for them.
So we don't roll over too far. All right, and it's not a secret. So I'm just going to throw it out there for everybody, okay? Because this is going to be, for right now, I think this is awesome. It's not trusted testers, it's not covert ops, but it's pretty kick-ass, okay? Kixeye is starting to do this thing, and I don't want to totally get you away from forums or your Facebook groups or whatever, but really, honestly, if you could just give Discord a try, I promise you that if you spend just a little bit of time in there, and if you don't know how Discord works, get with one of us, any one of the mods or any of us that's in Discord on a regular basis, and we will show you the lovely, wonderful things that you can find in Discord very, very quickly that you cannot find on forums because it has a suck-ass search feature. And yes, I can say that because even Kixeye says it sucks. Okay, so there's this thing that Kixeye came up with. It's called focus groups, and basically what it is, it's a group of Kixeye War Commander team members, and they get together with players, and they have a focus group. They do it on Discord. It's not voice; it's typed. They do it on Discord, and they ask questions, and then they have those players ask answers. So usually it's anywhere from 7, 10, maybe 11, 15. I think just like any kind of a party, they over-invite in case people can't make it. So there were several people that couldn't make it. Any of you are in forums often. Axel was invited. He wasn't able to make it. Had something come up. City was invited. At the last minute, he wasn't able to make it. So he did give his answers, but he wasn't able to be there for the live part of it. Okay, this was practically this last focus group was practically the entire War Commander game team, like guys that we talk to all the time, and people that are behind the scenes always working that I get to talk to, or the other mods get to talk to, that maybe you guys don't even know that exists. Okay, Golden Doodle was in there, Friendly Fixer was in there, CM Bernie was in there, Devs were in there, CS was in there. There were a lot of people in this focus group. So that being said, I'm going to go through the questions and get how the panel feels, and I'm also going to I'm going to say what the questions are, and if I know what the answer is, I'm just going to tell you what the answer is. But there's some of the questions where I would like for you to give the information on what you think. So a few of them I'll skip over, but one specific one was at the end they usually do they usually, if they have time, again, if they have time, they open it up for open panel for you to ask any question that you want. And if they have the answers, they'll give it to you. If they don't have the answers or they don't know, they may say, oh, we didn't realize that was an issue. You know, please get with me later. Can you send me the information? So there were a lot of questions that were asked just at the very end. There were absolutely kick butt. One of those questions that a lot of people have been asking about is the avatar changes. Why are the avatars changing when I hit a base, or not even hitting a base? I go on to do a resource base and I have some other person in sector, never hit that person. He's never hit me. It's not on my battle log. So we found out that that's actually a Facebook issue. And even if you only play on KXL, but if they play on Facebook, it could actually happen to you. So it could be because you hit them. It could be because as you were scrolling, when you clicked down with your mouse and you scrolled over. So the avatars changing is actually a Facebook issue. It's not an internal KIXEYE issue. So I know that seems like something really insignificant. Why would you bring that up? I'm bringing it up because KIXEYE can't solve that one. Doesn't mean they're not going to go through to Facebook and say, hey, we need to fix this, but it's more interrelated to Facebook. And it's not something that they can fix per se. All right, so one of the other questions that was asked, I'm sorry, my thing went on. There are a few that I want to get your, okay, the 69ing issue. The team has a suggestion for the 69 issue. And they asked the players that were in the focus group, and I'm not going to describe who it is, but if you ever get invited to a focus group and you have a chance to attend, please do, because it's unbelievably informative. And I think that you guys would really enjoy it. And if you don't get invited again, please don't get upset about it. So specifically about the walls, the question was asked was, how valuable are the walls in your base defense? If there were less of them, but they blocked for a longer area, would you like that? And what level walls do you have? So I'm specifically saying to you guys, because there's a lot of people have been asking for walls. For a long period of time, people have been asking for walls. So since that was one of the last topics that we talked about, that was the question that was asked, which again goes back to what we showed the picture. I wanted to give the community the context. So the players said, our walls are maxed out all over. I'd be happy if they lasted longer. Can we have like more armor and battle pirates? You can put armor on your walls. They would like to have half of the walls, but twice the size. So we did just touch on the walls, but I did want to ask that one, you guys, how would you feel about having them last longer and have more armor, especially if they got max? Like KIXEYE has the what looks like what would be a new wall. There's really, really bright, shiny walls. How would you feel about that, or bigger? I'm just asking you, like if there was half the walls, but they were twice the size, how would you feel about that?
The walls, no, honestly.
No?
I mean, adding armor, yes, I would say. Making them last a little longer, yes, but changing the size, no.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I agreed. And then in the focus group, it was that that they were hearing that most people like the walls the way that they would that they function, but they would change the number as long as they can cover the same area. So that was the general consensus. So the reason why I wanted to bring that up was because that came from the KIXEYE team member. Because the focus group said, so after they all answered, I'm hearing that most people like the walls as they function, but maybe it could be okay to change the number of walls as long as they can cover the same area. And the reason why I brought up about the armor, that they would last longer, is because that's what a lot of people also said, is that, well, if you're going to make any kind of changes, then we would like to see that they would last longer. Let's see.
I would just like the walls to actually function the way they're supposed to.
Exactly.
Yes.
The only thing, like the reason I brought that up is, because when I originally heard the comment or read the comment that was spitballed about reconstructing the walls to make them render better, take less off of our, or be more efficient for our computers. I was under the impression that when they develop a wall block, it is 50 different sprites, or 20,000 little itty bitty microscopic pixels that go into creating this. I mean, when we saw them do the rim, the little podcast, and they showed the creation of the rim skin for the Titan, you can see all the tiny little fractal shapes and facets that they go through in the CAD key design, rendering out the shapes of not only the Titan, but adding the fan blades and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What I originally thought and would have supported was, instead of doing it on so many minute little faceted shapes, basically making it more of a less aesthetic appearance, more just a block, and making each block be 4 pixels or 4 squares or 8 instead of 32. That was my original idea of what they were talking about. But then to come across what David obviously, what Dark Shadows obviously showed, making a series of blocks interconnected and moving as one mass is completely counterproductive to designing an effective base.
I think you guys were kind of right on. Yes, everybody seems to be the same. That's I just wanted to specifically bring that up, that everybody seemed to be on the same, and the team members heard that. So they're basically like, you like the way that they function overall. So I'm hoping that they took that into consideration, because everybody that was in the focus group all had the same. They liked the way that the walls were. Like what Chad said, like them see them function as they were intended.
Yeah, max wall, stop, splash, period. That's it.
Right.
So
let's move on to their plan to fix the 69 exploit, or as we call 69. Okay, there's Ring of Fire, there's 69ing and cock blocking. Okay, those aren't my words. Those are player words. Okay, so their plan to fix the 69, and this was posed. I'm going to ask what you guys think, and people on YouTube, you can comment. We can share those comments if somebody wants to. I have the Discord's full screen. All right, the plan to fix 69. This is directly from Golden Doodle. Okay, there are three changes. One, introducing a cooldown that when you break your own bubble, so that you can't be bubbled again for a set amount of time, say 30 minutes. 2, infamy is lost when an alliance member bubbles you. 3, a small amount of infamy gained on attacking platoons. So, and then the question to the focus group was, do you think that would be effective? And would it hurt anybody who's playing fair? So they said for number 2 about the infamy. Infamy is lost when the alliance member bubbles you. Someone asked, is that from both parties? No, just the defender. So what are your thoughts on that? So they're thinking, again, a cooldown period, I'll reread it, when you break your own bubble so that you cannot be bubbled again for a set amount of time. And he just gave that as an example. That doesn't mean it's set in stone. Say 30 minutes. Infamy is lost when an alliance member bubbles you, and a small amount of infamy gained on the attacking platoons. So how do you guys feel about that intended change?
All right, I'm going to go first on this one.
Okay.
So, the losing infamy when a clan member bubbles you. Okay, we need to find out set amount.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But the problem is right now we don't lose any when a clan member bubbles us. Period.
Right, that was introduced with CC 13. You're right. Now they're trying to counter 69. I get that. But I hear you on that one. Yes.
The cooldown period where you cannot be bubbled. No, because they pop their bubble. Let's say it's set for 30 minutes. You can't be bubbled again. Here they are going out and hitting people for that next 30 minutes.
Right, and that was the general consensus for 30 minutes. And I won't say the people's names, but I mean, these people they've been on this panel. You guys know all these people that are in this focus group. Everybody says the 30 minutes gives an enemy free reign over a sector for that period. The other person said 30 minutes is way too long. Someone else said that, I can't imagine that, because that's how that would be exploited. 30 minutes, again, that gives somebody free reign over a second. And it does
Not
say
only that, it's like having a bubble, but not a bubble.
right. And it does say it says
I got a solution to that though. Okay.
I think it should be 6 minutes.
If it's
it does say though, to clarify, you can still be attacked during that window. You just won't be bubbled if your base is 100% destroyed.
okay. Well, here's the combat to that though. Right.
Mhm.
If they're going to do that, get bubbled and whatnot, it is okay. Fine, they can't be bubbled for whatever let's say by that same player for 30 minutes. That's a combat. Can't be bubbled by the same player for 30 minutes.
Mhm.
However, you can be bubbled by other players.
Mhm.
Or, in conjunction with that, can't be bubbled by the same player for 30 minutes. Then, the minute they attack, they're free game to everybody. Once again.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you got the morale where it's after two attacks where they get the defeated sign, the platoon goes home, and then you got to where they can't, or the other thing is they can't attack. They can't attack anybody for 30 minutes.
Mhm. I kind of like the idea. At least they have a plan.
Yeah.
And they're asking for information, and that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to share it on the show, get your guys' thoughts on it, and also for the YouTube and the people who watch later. They have a plan in place, and it was so great that these are major PvPers. And actually, when I was asked to make recommendations for players, that's what they asked me for: 7 to 10 people that I knew that were major PvPers and were the most frustrated with the 69ing and the Rings of Fire. And
the other thing I'm going to suggest though is the taking infamy if you defeat a PvP plat or a plat itself. That is going to be minuscule unless it's going to be like a massive amount. So let's say you have 36,000 infamy. You're in the gold tier 1. I'm in gold tier 1. And let's say I'm going to get 450 from you just for hitting you, and bubbling you 3-star.
yes.
How much are you going to get off of them just for hitting?
Yeah, it was, and then Friendly Fixer did come in and say for Platoon Infamy Exchange would have a slightly different formula from what we use for a base. But then again, there was another player who said that the Infamy could be exploited because the player could just be setting tunes out, and then player B kills a tune, then player A sets it out again, and then player B sets a tune.
Yeah,
lather, rinse, repeat. Exactly.
Yeah, and that also defeats the purpose of us, putting platoons around our base like we do for early warning system or something.
All right, my view real quick. As far as the cooldowns go, if that is what they wanted to institute, my suggestion would be it would be 1 battle timer period. So our typical battle timer is a 6-minute attack. So I would say if you want to be protected or give them a protection where they can't be bubbled, it's 1 attack cycle. It's 6 minutes. After that, they're fair game again, because I can't see 30 minutes or 20 minutes or 15 minutes of a player even being attackable but not bubbled. They're going to use that, and I just don't see it. The talking heads and the drama and the crap. I just don't want to see that going.
Okay. No. If they can't be bubbled again for 30 minutes, but you can still attack them and still take infamy off them and flatten them every time that they don't get their bubble.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's what I like.
That would be
okay.
It's preventative for the 69ing. So, again, like we see so often. I mean, it happened even to me that we see so often because I had an alt in the other sector. I mean, literally, the guy was in the sector, arranged with his guys, was in the sector, and then as soon as, they know how to do it, everybody knows how to do it super effectively when you're hitting bases, and wait for the person to get the blue goo for Warpath in this case, or infamy, what have you, because you do get infamy and Warpath too. And then so they hold your base, and then they don't do anything, and then they flatten you. But I love that. I love that idea, because you're still going to be able to take infamy away from them.
Yeah, as long as they still can receive the damage and lose the infamy that they're stealing off of other players or causing other players, and
So
you can help to defend your clan and your sector, then yeah, I agree.
Okay, so go
as
ahead.
far as the 30-minute bubble cooldown time, like you would have with your ops, as long as you can keep attacking them, if they decide to pop that bubble and wait, ride that 30 minutes out until they can get another bubble, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
That would change PvP massively.
Yes, and that was the sentiment once they clarified that, and there were other team members in there. I don't want to, you guys know who Friendly Fixer is, you know who Golden Doodle is, you know who Bernie is, but there are other team members in there. I don't want to say their names because they're not out publicly. But yeah, once they made some clarifications, oh my goodness, the whole entire team that was in there was like, wow, that would completely, oh my gosh, yes, it would make PvP. It's still fun, but a lot more fun, not as frustrating as basically, because like you said, it's like as soon as you get something from someone, you're like, boom, I'm on it, because you're online and you want to go hit him, and then you see that his teammate's sitting right there and he immediately starts to bubble him, or hold him in one storm or whatever. I mean, it's kind of aggravating. On that note about Warpath and Infamy and that whole thing, one of the other questions was, what was your favorite and least part of Warpath and why? And how often do you think we should run a Warpath? Now, just very quickly, the overwhelming thing was that they loved the bubble time, that it was only 4 hours. It's it gets people out of and into different sectors. Their least favorite part of Warpath, and I definitely want to bring that up, was, and everybody said the same thing, and then that's what Golden Doodle took from it, was based on their feedback in the focus group. It looks like the biggest issue with Warpath is the honor formula, but the mechanics for it are solid. And everybody said resounding, agreed. And Golden Doodle said, that's fixable. We have tweaked it in the past, and we're going to have the team take a look at it again, the formula again, because that was overwhelmingly, that's what they said, was for the higher level players. It was so hard to get any honor.
No, I agree. Somewhat the formula is a problem, but never, ever do a 2-day Warpath again.
Yes, that was the other thing. That was the other thing they said. That it was
because you can ride that out, 30 minutes before it starts. You can ride out a 36-hour bubble.
Yes,
if you wanted to.
Yeah, that was bad. That was
bad. That was really bad.
But just real quick, the way to get
and they asked for it not to be overlapped or invasion. But go ahead.
The way to get the honors is stop focusing on the player level, the account level. Stop looking at the account level. Stop even comparing honors levels or infamy numbers. The way to get the highest output of honors is to combine attacking a player of equal or greater level that has a base that has defenses in it. The greater the defender pool inside his base, the better your payouts will be on the tail end of the event. The players, you can go in on the first day when everybody's at 0 and hit an empty level 12 base and get, your stock number, or hit a 35 and get your stock number, or hit a very weak level 38 and get a stock number. That's fine. On that tail end, when you've ranked up and you've got 6,000 honors or 8,000 honors, you have to stop being a puss, man up, lady up, put on your big girl panties, and go after a 42 or a 44, if you're a 45 like me, hit a 44 or a 45 that has Avalanche packed out, technicals and phalanx and this going and that going and max level this, and you will get 100 plus 200 honors. If you're only hitting dead bases that have been out of game or for the scumbags that deserved it, the ones that got reset, it says 42 on their base, but it looks like a 22. That's fine to hit on day 1. But by day 4 in a normal Warpath, you're not going to get jack shit. Right. You got to go and actually fight. And for that, I think that spectrum of payout is good.
Yeah, but it gets a little harder when you're up there in level.
Yeah. The problem that I have is, and I know this is very selfish, but I would like to see tier sets, so sporadic tiers, where when you reach said number, there is a cap at which how much a player can take off you. So when you start out and you have 0, you get to say 2,000. At 2,000, you can't get hit and lose 500. Now this does not happen, obviously, but when you get up to that 10,000, one attack should not take 500, 600, 800, 1,000 honors off of you.
No, and they don't always all get that either. It just goes to the wayside.
But yeah, I know that. Well, that's the other problem. But what I'm saying is, when you lose at 10,000 honors, you shouldn't lose 800 honors. Maybe you lose 400, 450 max. Doesn't matter if it's a level 12 that flattens you. Now, obviously, again, the coefficient, the information about what you have in your base. I had a fully loaded defended base, so I'm going to lose more honors if they flatten me. When they flatten me, because I'm easy to flatten. So they're going to take a big chunk. But there should be a cap at the top end. When you've approached a certain tier, say they break it into 4 quadrants, 2,000, 4,000, say 8,000 and 10,000, and then everybody over 10,000, you get 15,000, 12,000. You're only losing like a max 500 an attack.
Mm-hmm.
That I could see, because a person who's going to hit somebody who's a high level who has 12,000 honors in a 2-day event is going to be a high level player themselves. 500 is a good payoff. At the same token, it's not going to hurt you.
I still don't totally agree with the mechanics of the honor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only because I've seen where a level 46 is hit a 38 that has almost 20,000 honor, and they get 200 off.
Well, yeah, but again, like I said, they're focusing on the honor number. They're not focusing on the over. It's a massive amount of variables that come into effect. If that 32 had a fully loaded base and had less honors, and that other player hit him with nothing but air, they could have gotten actually maybe 250 honors off of that player. And that player, that 32 only had, say, 1,500 honors instead of 2,000. There's different variables. If that 32 only has lightweight shit, has no technicals, no phalanx, didn't buy a gold pack, has nothing in there but friggin' ERMs, you're not going to get a massive amount of honors off of them. But if you go to that same account and they bought a gold package and they loaded their base up with phalanxes that they had their friends help get the tokens for, or they bought the tokens packages, and they maxed out their phalanxes and they maxed out their technicals, and this level, 38 hits the 32, that 38 is going to get 250 honors, 300 honors, whatever, because the base that they're attacking has more attributes, more defense.
It works a little bit. Yeah,
Here, hang on. I got one other thing on that. So let's say you got a level 38 with 15,000 honor. All right. You're a level 47 or 46, whatever. You have 2,000 honor. They come flatten you. They're going to get a crap ton of honor off of you, but you go to hit them and
you get nothing.
You get nothing, or you get very little. If they've got a high number of honor on them, you should be getting the same amount that they're going to be getting off of you in that point. That's one thing that I have seen. Let's say let's say you're a 38. You come flatten me, I've got 10,000 honor. You're going to get 800 off of me. But you have, let's say, 10,000 honor. I've got 8,000 honor. I go hit you, and I'm getting nothing because of your base level. It shouldn't be just based on. It should be based on base level up to a certain point.
Yeah.
After you receive so much honor, but when you're in that, that platinum tier, and you're hitting, you're 38 and you're hitting these 42s, 45s, 47s, whatever with, high honor, and you're getting all this off of them, and then this 47 hits you because of your base level. He gets nothing. off of you. That's just totally wrong.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I think that broaches both honors and infamy. Retaliatory strikes you should get back.
Which
an
worries
equivalent.
me. Which worries me slightly because for Warpath, I just throw it devil's advocate out there, whatever you want to call it. Throw the the monkey in the wrench, or the wrench in the monkey, or the water in the oil, the sugar in the gas tank. In fixing the 69 exploit, right now you can, obviously we can only hit each other once, but you are encouraged to hit, it always has been that way, alliance mates. So we're gonna have something that they have to look at. For instance, the reason why I'm saying that is that Jim was really well protective when we were going right around and we had everything going on, and then all of a sudden at the last minute, unexpectedly, a guy jumped in, and that's the first thing he did. He went to the top of the leaderboard and hit Destry, and we thought he was gone, and he left, and it had been a little bit of a while left. Well, Jim was number 3 on the leaderboard. He came back and he hit Jim. Not only did he, the blue goo was one thing, it took a lot, but it really, he took a ton of infamy. So if they do this 69ing thing, and if we can hit each other, there was no way for me to hit Jim, because they took that away about gaining infamy and everything. I couldn't hit him again because it was Warpath. So that's another thing that I hope when they look at the formulas that I hope they don't take that away, because that's one of the things that some of the alliances do, especially some of the smaller alliances do. Towards the end of Warpath, they all get together and they round robin. So that maybe somebody who got hit at the last minute, they got knocked from the platinum division down to gold, or from the gold division down to platinum, or God forbid from the silver all the way down to the iron division, you still get something. But I hope that they look at that, because you can round robin with an alliance, but what is that going to do when it comes to infamy? You know what I'm saying?
That does nothing for me, because it's for me from your clanmates. But you do get honor.
No. What I'm okay. Never mind.
She's just talking about a guy jumping in, not necessarily in the clan. But yeah, you're right. If you're counting on that also for your medals payout when it runs into the event, where you're going to get the medals reward for your PvP standard.
Right, especially if we have a Warpath that's right at the end of, like, we're in season 8 now, but especially if the Warpath runs like it did this one, right at the end of a season. So that's
instead of getting 120,000 on top of your Warpath medals, now you're only getting 60,000 or 90,000 on your Warpath.
Right, or if they put something else with it, the Blood Thors and the other things that you get, the other things that you can get for Warpath, or other things that they may be introducing into Infamy, because I think they have some more plans for Infamy. And speaking of PvP and Infamy, Golden Doodle asked the panel, and I'll give you the answers of what the players said, and then we can go from there, because it's a short amount of people that answered, but they thought it was a great idea. For PvP changes, they're considering making depots. Please, let me read all the way through before you freak out. Depots be infamy multipliers to make map control a larger part of PvP. And the question was, do you think this would be a good addition to the game? Don't freak out yet. Hold the question in there. Do you think this would be a good addition to the game? And one player said, yes, Battle Pirates has this. It's an excellent feature. Somebody else said, oh, yep, this would spark some really good PvP. Person said, can you give some more details? It could be a good addition. Yes, I think it would be awesome. I'd use them, but it's kind of like a bit of a downfall, because having a bunch of them would cause lag, because it is a big lag monster for a lot of people. There were people that said what kind of percentages. There was another player said, I think depots should be completely removed from the map. Depots may need a defense buff, though, because depots are kind of outdated. And Golden Doodle said yes, they definitely would. We would relook at the way depots are. So basically the premise is, yes, the more depots you control, the more infamy you gain from PvP. So then there were the people who said, well, wait a minute, there's players who hold hundreds and hundreds of depots. And what would the defending player use? And so on and so forth. So a lot of people were saying, they were worried about the lag. It would cause a nightmare in our sector, Doodle, because some people have a whole bunch of them, some don't have any at all. They mentioned forward ops. What about forward ops? I miss forward ops. So Golden Doodle says, for reference, if we were to do this, we would take a look at all the numbers for all of the depots before we do that. And everybody said, yes, if you could have it just be a select amount of depots, and definitely work on the lag. So I'm asking you guys, how would you think about that if they reworked depots and they gave it just like a limit, a size limit of how many you could have? Would you guys think that that would be pretty kick-ass for Infamy for PvP?
With that being said, okay, we all know, as you said, depots cause lag. The more you have, the more lag you have.
Yes.
To the point of you cannot load your game because of all the depots.
Yes, that was an overwhelming sentiment. There's actually a number which is 100 for a person that has a decent computer. If you have more than 100, I have gotten Google Hangouts, and I've said this before. I've gotten Google Hangouts with people who have had more than 100 depots. There's not a single person that I have ever helped that had problems with getting inside their base, out of their base, getting into loading the world map, getting in and out of the game, getting loading a player's base. There's not a single person, when I took an alt to their sector and took away all their depots till they had less than 100, that wasn't fixed. I'm not saying their lag was perfect. It wasn't fixed. So that magic number, which was brought up, oh my gosh, back Slacko days, when Wrong Thinker first brought it up, the magic number seems to be 100. And that's if you have a really decent computer. If you have a really old computer and you have more than 100 depots, it causes a lot of lag. They're looking into that anyway to reduce the lag. But I like the idea of getting more infamy to use it as an infamy multiplier. I like that idea.
For the people that are saying it's a waste of time, they don't want to do the depots because they jump a lot. This is for while you're in the sector hitting. So you sneak into the sector, you grab like whatever the number is. Let's say grab 10 depots, you get an extra 10% bonus. 10% bonus.
Yeah, you don't have to hit a player's base. You go hit some depots and you sit there for a little bit until somebody realizes that you're stealing depots. It makes stealing depots fun again.
It would also benefit that it also multiplies by the same percentage the production. So you're making more infamy. You're making more for the lower levels in your clan for their resources, so that they are getting slightly better resources over the period of time when you have them, so they can build missiles and everything. I think
I'm going to say just point blank that if they set a limit to, let's say, 10, you get a 10% bonus increase, go for it.
I agree. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have some kind of crazy mathematics, because Kickside math is never exact.
Yeah. So this would be good for PvP because, some people are those depot whores that have to have, 1,000 depots. I knew somebody that did. He would fill up his res within like 2 to 3 hours. You go hit him, you get res off.
Yep.
But that's all he did.
I've been in some sectors where by accident, literally by accident, and I know that's how it's like, how do you hit a depot by accident? That was actually part of their sector rules. Somebody had hit somebody's depots, and he owned probably 90% of every depot you looked at had his name on it. You joke about it. That was a sector rule, that if you took any of his depots, that you would be bumped from the pages, you would be permanently hunted, because he owned all the depots. That were not all of them, but most of them in the sector. I think that's definitely something they would have to look at, because if you're a player and obviously I guess they would have to wipe all the depots out and start over again, maybe put less depots on the map. I've asked them to stop having the wave. I call it the wave. You guys call it whatever you want, but the depots kind of have that little wave, where it kind of scrolls over with the redness of the depot and the person's name. Take that off the map.
How about this, on all honesty? Take off all the tinies, the smalls, the larges, or maybe leave the larges.
And just make it a depot.
Make it one depot. One depot only gives you a set amount of resource income.
Yes,
That
and like
and
you said,
reduce the numbers. That's it, point blank, because you don't need 300 or 400 tinies, 400 larges, and
oh,
all that.
exactly.
Just one,
Yeah.
and a set number per sector. Maybe 500 per sector.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the idea of doing that. I know it sounds kind of funny, but when I was a low level player, and the guys would drag me around, was whether it was Dragon or Data King or Jano or who it was that was dragging me around, we just want you to snipe tunes, and then I go with Shadow Killer, Tech Ninja Dez, Lenster, and a couple other players, and we go to, different sectors to try to catch cheaters or whatever. And it's like, I was the tune sniper in the mouth in chat. I didn't care. I emptied out my base. Again, I wasn't that high of a level. I think I was like a 37 maybe. So it wasn't that high of a level. I didn't care. And I would pop again, and I'd go do something else. It makes it fun to go do depots again. I'd never go just take depots. Come on, who cares? Because you're going to jump and somebody's going to take it back anyway. I mean, it's just, to me, it's kind of, that would make it fun again. You could sneak into a sector, and especially if you knew the majority of the people who were in there, what time zone they were on, because there are some sectors like that. You could sneak in and you could take, like you said, if they allowed you to have 10 and it could multiply your infamy, by a certain percentage, I'd do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. To me, that would make even jumping and PvPing instead of just Warpath fun again. That's just my opinion on that one. Chad, what about you? I mean, aside from the lag part, because I mean, we've talked about the lag and everything with your computers and stuff and internet connection. What do you? I know you're not a big fan of depots anyway.
Yeah, I will never hold my 750 depots years back again. I would say, yeah, I would make it more interesting for PvP if we got a percentage of infamy from holding so many depots. It would definitely make it more interesting again.
Yeah, I'd like to find out if we can put a tune in it to defend it. Is it going to be kick butt? Because the ones that are in right now in War Commander Rogue Assault, that's how it is. But if somebody comes in to take your depot, it's already preset, and you can choose it's a selection, but you can choose what you have in there to defend.
Yeah, I wouldn't even worry about putting a defender in it, because it's easy as heck to get a depot.
Well, right now, that's what I'm saying right now. But I mean, I would think that like David said, I would think that based on the way they say, they would look at the depots and changing the depots, and definitely because of the lag. But yeah, right now they're easy.
I don't see them changing them too much, because for the low levels, that's something they got to learn how to do, and that's how they get their resources off when they start off. Sure. I mean, I remember when I first started out, that's what I was doing. It was depots, and I got a ton of them, and I completed all my side missions for them.
Right.
And it helped tremendously.
Okay, that's all right. That's good. No, I see that part of it too, because like you said, the low levels, if that's their only way to really get resources, because they really don't have any decent units. So yeah, I can see, or actually I can see how that could then all of a sudden you got a new level that's got a whole bunch of depots, and he's got 1,000 infamy and he hasn't hit anybody yet. I'm sorry, I don't mean it like that. He's hit one person, but just because of the percentage, all of a sudden he's worth look at that, he's got 1,200 infamy. Okay, so they opened the panel up for open questions, and I'm just going to pick out some questions that are out of here. One of the questions was about new spec ops. Okay, so there's a two-pronged answer to this one. There were two members, Kickside team members. The first team member says there's a roadmap that's in place as we, right now. It's a spec ops rework. So there is definitely they're in the process of doing that.
Does that mean we get our dropship back?
Well, I'm going to ask about that, because I knew that you were going to bring that one up. It said adding on to Golden Doodle said adding on to the other team members answer. We are planning to produce new spec ops and a rework of the feature soon. So it's in place. So a lot of people were saying that, whatever it was that we just got recently, and it's like, oh, I thought we were going to get this spec op rework. No, it's coming. So they're still, kind of working on that.
As long as they don't get rid of its electric.
Yeah, exactly. There was a player that asked, I figured I'd throw it out there since we were talking about some things. They did ask about the Darkstorm. I spent a lot of time and effort on my Darkstorm, and I coined a lot, and I worked really long. And he wanted to know, because sometimes they put out this kick butt unit, and then there's a counter to it to, one event later. And he basically said, I've coined my Darkstorm to max. How long can I continue to enjoy it before a counter to this unit arrives? And hang on, I have to scroll just a little bit so I can get the actual. The Kicks team member said, there's no current plan in the works to counter the DS directly. We hope you enjoy the new gameplay possibilities that it provides. So there you go. So the people who think, that the profit is going to be the counter or whatever. And again, that's why I brought that up earlier on the show. Right now, there's no one-stop shop to say, oh, this is going to kill the Darkstorm. That's right from a team member. There's no specifically, plan for an overview. Thank you. Sorry. The blitz from the rogue bases, or a few people that were not liking the blitz on the rogue bases. I don't know how you guys feel about the blitzes, but right at the current time, basically the answer is that you don't have to use the blitz feature. It's just there if you want to. And Kicks it's not a money grab. They really are saying that they didn't intend it as a money grab. They intended it as that you don't have to use it, but if you choose to use it, that you can. So there was a person that said, why was Warpath only 2 days instead of the normal 4 days? And I saw the YouTube chat was talking about that. And the answer to that, because I was even speculating, but the answer directly from Golden Doodle is the reason was simply for variety. If it's unpopular, which it appeared to be, we will definitely change it back. So there you go. That's from Golden Doodle. He goes, they didn't do it for any other reason other than for variety. So that's the reason. That's right there from Golden Doodle. If it's unpopular, and then it says, which it appears to be, we will change it back. So the guys really like that. The guys in the focus group really like that one.
Yeah, I hope they change it back. So, one other thing about the blitzes, the only complaint I have about it is the cost depending on the base level. It should be just a flat rate, not depending on the base level. And rename it to something along the lines of blitzing, not reroll.
Yes, yeah, you're right. You're right, and that I think that's why I said it's kind of like I'd like to just use the blitz term instead of roll or reroll. Exactly. There was a player that said, while we're on the topic of resources, is there anything in the pipeline for increasing payouts to keep up with the massive demand that we now have for resources? And the answer from the Kickside team member said to that player, addressed that player directly, yes, we're planning on releasing some new bases with higher resource payouts, but don't have a set time for when they will be released yet. Thank you for your question. So there you go. And then there were a lot of players that thanked that player for answering that question. Yes, thanks for bringing that up. We definitely need some higher resource payouts. So just to let you know, that's in there. Okay. There was one particular player, and it's kind of funny. If you remember him talking about it the other night, he's like all about Master Thief Op. We'd really like to see the Master Thief Op come back.
Never had it, and I've been playing over 6 years.
So it's like I got it when I first started. I got it one other time there was something that I offered it for, and I don't know why I got it. I think it was probably because I sent in a ticket and something happened. And then there was one of the ops that I used that didn't work, and it was one of the resource ones. and that I was supposed to get more resource ones, and they awarded that was my award. Instead of gold, the customer support person gave me a master a master's fee. I held on to that last one because I didn't. When they said rare, I thought, okay, they're kind of rare. And Data's like, no, you'll never, ever, ever get one again. That's how rare they are. They don't exist anymore.
If I remember correctly, the drop rate percentage on that was like less than 1%. Let's just put it that way.
It was probably really, really super. Yeah,
but
that's what I'm thinking.
It's supposedly still out there because I heard somebody get one a lower level, like a 5 or a 10 base. But with that being said, the drop rate is like next to nothing. So if you get one, you better go buy a lottery ticket.
And walk out in the rain with a golf club and an umbrella.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw the other question was one of the questions was about PvP 7. What was your favorite part? What was your least favorite part? Overwhelmingly, the least favorite part was about the people who were 69ing and the Rings of Fire, and obviously we've covered that already. That's why that was one of the first questions, but I'm kind of going backwards so I can just kind of shorten it down a little bit. And then they asked for a rating. Most players rated PvP 7 as like a 7.5, maybe 7, 8, somewhere around there. So Golden Doodle said, what I'm gathering is the biggest impediment for the PvP 7 player season being better rated was players using the exploitative 69 and Ring of Fire. And everybody was resounding, yes, 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 yes. That kind of stuff. So they're introducing more changes to combat that, the platoon morale, of course, and I'm sure they're probably, because that was Wednesday for the Ring of Fire, but they did ask if they thought that it was being effective so far. So do you guys think, I'm just going to skip into that one. Do you guys think what you see so far, do you think that since they released the implement to stop Ring of Fire, do you think that it's been effective so far?
Pissed off a lot of people.
I haven't seen much of a difference.
If you're talking about the morale, I know that pissed off a lot of people. But it is what it is, and it does combat the Ring of Fire. Does it combat the 69ing or the cock blocking or whatever? No, it doesn't. Mm-hmm. It won't combat the true 69ing.
Yeah. So right, and that's why I said they have that other plan for the 69ing, which sounds really good. I personally don't like it if, for instance, because when we went live, and we were live with the show, but the game was coming up. Bernie asked me, could you go do this, and could you go do this on the map, and not even thinking, and I end up with tunes that have the exclamation point. Well, I'm all the way over on the eastern wall. I put my tunes all over the map for everything, to sniping tunes, to getting better resources because I'm on the wall, everything. I hit my platoons and clicked a platoon, not near my base. I didn't deploy a platoon. I clicked a platoon and went to hit something. And I'm like, oh my God, the platoon's like on the whole other side of the map. And now it has the explanation point. Well, we're out. I was like, crap. So that part, I don't like it personally. For me, I don't like that. I see less Rings of Fire, but
I still see the same amount of Rings of Fire. It's just different people doing it now.
I see the Rings of Fire with the alts still, and that really bugs me a lot. So you guys really haven't seen that much either.
Nope.
Okay. All right. And this is, it's not like a shebang question to end on, but the next question was, which unit do you feel is the most overpowered unit and the most underpowered unit in the game, and what kind of balancing changes would you like to see implemented? I'm just going to read off some of the things that they said, and then we can go. I'm not sure. This one said most abused is Audra, but I wasn't sure if that's what they meant. Darkstorm, no question, is the most OP. Disruptor is the most underpowered. Quite a few are underpowered with various different changes. The most overpowered has to be the Mothership. reduction on the R for the Dark Storm increased the health and damage to the Disruptor. Again, another player, Dark Storm is a bit OP'd. Like to see a little bit more out of the legendary units, but I guess that ship has sailed. Dark Storm for sure is a big problem, very strong. Doesn't shoot very fast. He didn't say anything about, oh, Disruptor. No, he did. Disruptor is underpowered. One player said currently to me nothing is overpowered, but the Disruptor was a massive disappointment to me. So is the Cyclops. There you go, Chad. The stealthing capabilities and overall the Cyclops is just a complete disappointment. I'm sorry that I got them and scrapped them. Another player, Cyclops are very underpowered, do not work as they're intended. Holly has Scramble, but her damage doesn't really do much against modern units. Yeah, you put your Cyclops with your Poly, but you know, it ends up being a mess. Overpowered the Darkstorm because it can walk through most bases. Then there were 3 players that pretty much dittoed what that other player said. So Golden Doodle says, wow, I'm sensing a common theme here. And then Friendly Fixer says Cyclops definitely gets my vote. So pretty much all of them said that the Darkstorm they thought was OP'd, that the Cyclops were a huge disappointment. They want it fixed, and Friendly Fixer agreed. And also the Disruptor. And again, that was one that Wrong Thinker had brought up, that originally when they brought the Disruptor out and tested it, they thought it was OP, so they dialed it back. So they think that maybe they should have dialed it back up. Maybe it'll get something for that. So
I honestly don't think the Darkstorm is overpowered if you know what units to use to kill it.
Yeah, if you know what units to kill it with. I mean, being offline and getting hit with it, I'm not really. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I do think, though, and I don't know if anybody else has noticed it, that they dialed back a little bit on the Sea Squadron.
Yes, I thought that was a little bit interesting, but then they released the seatbelt thing for it, so I'm not really sure. It was. Do you think your Ravishers?
Ravishers are fine. I just think the Sea Squadron, like doing the cores and chemical bases, I've seen a massive difference in damage.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering. It's like, have they bumped? Because I was going to ask you that. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, because I couldn't tell if it was my Siege Squadron. I don't just use my Siege in there, but so I switched. I took my Siege Squadron out and went back to doing. It takes a little bit longer, but I used my Blackout, my Sandstorm, and my Bonesaws, and I kind of like go around in a circle and go around in a circle and go around in a circle. But do you think maybe they buffed the Red Locust bases instead?
I didn't
notice a
totally inquired on that. I haven't seen any difference on the coloration of the turrets.
Yeah, I haven't.
But I noticed a difference on the damage on my Siege.
Okay. All right. So, because there's only so many things that can shoot your Siege. I thought one time when I went into one of the bases, I thought maybe it was more the Crusaders or something, but they can't hit your air anyway. There's not 2 bastions in there. There's still only 1 bastion in there. So, I'm still trying to figure out what it is. All right. I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to check that one out. Okay. All right. Well, I pretty much covered every question that was on there and every answer that was on there. And just in a general reiteration, if you're ever don't know what Discord is, it is a really great source to find information. It scrolls really, really fast. It's kind of like a massive chat room, or like you have for your groups or whatever. The really great part about it is all you have to do is go up into the search and you can type in CM Bernie and you can look at everything that CM Bernie said that day. Whether he said it in general, what he said to you in a PM, it's all there. If you're like, man, I can't find this, I can't find that. Well, when did he say it? It'll actually show what time he said it, and you can actually click on that and it'll take you where it is in the Discord. As far as the focus groups goes, Kixeye also handpicks people to be in the focus groups. So if you are more active in the Discord and in the general section of Discord, If you're more active, you're asking questions, you're helping other players. Maybe you have some information they don't have. Somebody has a question. Maybe they're asking an opinion. If they see you being active, Kickstarter may pick you just because you're participating in the main War Commander room. There's a lot of other rooms. There's a general room. There's an alliance recruitment room. There's a bug report section. There's community guides, community support, community media, which is like the links to the Ruby Facebook page and some of the other information that goes out about announcements in the game. There's a monthly event discussion group. There's an off-topic section. Well, there's also a moderator chat too. And you can PM any person that's in here at any time. And there are moderators in here, and the Kickstarter employees are in here often. So definitely give it a try. For those of you who can't see forums for whatever reason, and it's not just because you've been banned. There are some players that can't see forums because there are countries at war, and they let them play on Facebook Game Room, but they don't let them have access to Facebook. And because KXL is like a Facebook kind of a platform, it's considered like a social media kind of a thing. Obviously, you can play the game there, but it's like a social media thing with the forums and the chats and everything. Some countries block KXL, so you can't see the forums because the country has blocked it. So if you can't, try Discord. If it's something that you can get and you can get information from, it's a great place to get. Bernie's in there a lot. Golden Doodle's in there a lot. Friendly Fixer's in there a lot. When something goes wrong in game, that's my go-to place is to go to Discord. Not forums. I go right to Discord. I go to forums to see what everybody's upset about, but then I go right to Discord. That's how, and now the entire moderator team, we've completely moved over from where we used to use Skype. All of us use Discord. So, and you can see when the moderators are online. So it's right there. It's all for you to see. So encourage you to think about it. If you ever get asked to be on a focus group, I definitely would take advantage of it. Because if you want to be heard and you want to say what you have to say, they're right there listening, and you've got the Kickside team members right there with you, giving you direct answers. You can't get much more real than that. So,
and I have been posting the Kickside Discord link throughout the show, just for those that want it.
Good. Yes. If you have any problems getting in, or if you're having a problem getting in and you don't understand how it works, you don't know how to use the search feature, like I said, grab me, grab Dava, grab anybody that you know, get in a Google Hangout. If that doesn't work, click on, I had to ask David the other day. I was like, crap, I can't remember how to click on this to see because I wasn't friends with the person on Discord. They sent me a PM and I answered them, and I couldn't remember because we weren't friends. I could see all my friends online on the one side, but it was somebody that I hadn't friended yet, and I lost my PM with that person, and I didn't want to have to search because all you had to do was click the who's online button, and then I could see. And then it showed me all my conversations that I recently had. So it's great. Just give it a try. If you don't understand it, grab us. And every time that Bernie makes the release notes posts, the bug fix posts, the downtime and maintenance posts, all those pinned threads that you see on forums, every time he makes those posts, they all go into Discord. They're all right there. You can't miss it.
And if you're offline from Discord, you will actually, depending on how you have your settings done, you will get an email stating, "Hey, CM Bernie mentioned you in a comment." You're like, "What comment is it?" And then you see the note post.
And then you can see what it is. Yes. So it has a lot of great things that forums does not have. And if we have any kind of like huge thing that's happening, like the trophy issue, the people stuck in battle issue, a lot of those issues that ended up being merged threads and forums, and we're spending so much time merging threads, the moderators were merging threads. The answers to some of those questions, boom, was live right there in Discord.
Now, I'm gonna give this public service announcement for everybody, okay? Just as for everybody that's on Discord or wants to join Discord. Just remember, Monday is usually, for most businesses, is a quick meeting in the morning. Give these guys time to get through their coffee, get their meetings done. They're quite busy first thing Monday mornings. So they may not get to your PM right away, but they will eventually get to your PM to them if it's really, really important. You also have to understand that these guys have their regular job. Discord is not their main focus, but they are on it. And it may take them a little bit of time to get to your PM because they've got so many. At last count, I think it was like almost close to 800 people that have joined that Discord.
Yeah, it has really grown by leaps and bounds, but it's really great.
Right now, hang on, I'll be able to tell you. 1 second, where'd that link go? I think it was like 79 people online right now. I lost the link. Well, darn it. With that being said,
and you can where it's discouraged, and I mean that rule is in forums. We try not to enforce it too much. With Discord, you can use the ampersand symbol. You can say @CM and like for instance, somebody says I have a guy. It says @CM I have a guy saying that he can't choose his tech in his workshop. Every time I shoot an aerial siege, I end up falling off the server. It's not saving my changes. So, I mean, don't go overboard and constantly ping Bernie with stuff, because this isn't a replacement for customer support, because you will get a message probably from one of the moderators, and we will intercede and say, have you sent a ticket yet? Well, no, I haven't. I just wanted to ask Bernie. So those kinds of things. I mean, it's not this Discord isn't a replacement for CS, but if you see an issue and then you see somebody in your alliance is also having the issue, and then you find out everybody in the sector is having an issue, it's a great place to come to and say, you know, I mean, Bernie was just in here at 7:24. Is anyone receiving any error messages in game at the moment? There were a few that were in. No, it took me a while to load in. Took a little bit longer, but once I got in, it was fine. Everything's good. Yes, I can attack, etc. Yes, thank you. And then Bernie came back and says, thanks, everyone. So he's like, so that's the kind of interaction that's in there. And that's, if you want that kind of interaction, you want some of that real-time information, it's right there. And then there's people there that are there all the time. So when we talk about they're only there 9 to 5 to work at Kixeye, available to the players is what I mean, Monday through Friday. That doesn't mean that the moderators aren't there at different times. And then there's a lot of expert level players that are in there. You know, some of those guys that answer your tickets that, you know, that don't go to CS, but it's an expert player that answers. Some of those people are here in the Discord, and they already have that information. So, and they're at all different time zones, and we've got players all over the world that are a part of that expert panel group. So, it's a really great place to where you don't have to put something in forums and then sit and wait and hope that somebody looks at it, or that a moderator or somebody sees it the next day, or that it gets knocked down to the second or third page on general discussion. Just
or it gets trolled to hell and back.
Oh, I really do try with the trolling. That's why I mentioned about the merging the other show. I'll mention it again. If your post gets merged, please don't get upset. It's nothing personal. It happened today. There were so many posts about so many different things, and some things that were left over yesterday, really, really important things that needed to be on that first or second page, got knocked really quick down to the third or fourth page. It's like when you do a Google search. Nobody goes to page 16 of a Google search to see what does page 16 say when you type in, how do I make lemon bar squares? You know what I'm saying? It's like people just don't do that. So if your stuff gets merged, we do the very best we can to squeeze them together so that the team can see them. And if need be, I can reference that link and send that to a team member, and then they can see the information. Instead of them having to look at 15 threads, they can look at one thread with 50 comments, and every single person has the same issue. That's where we get your IDs from. If you're all missing your trophies, that's where we get your IDs. We merge the threads and we grab the IDs right from that thread. And the people who were stuck in battle, we merged the people who were stuck in battle, we grabbed all the IDs, and we got that to the engineering team. So it's nothing personal for you. So Yes, it is time to wrap up. Don't leave forums. We're still there. You're just going to get more interaction with the moderators in forums than you are going to be with the team members, other than posts, main posts, and comments after they make a main post. Okay? That's
All
good.
right. That's good. That's good information. Like we
Yeah, I
said.
know. It's over 3 hours. I wanted to throw the questions in there because there were a lot of answers in there. I apologize. Yes, we went long.
All right. Well, it does happen. I mean, we did have a lot of stuff to discuss to a certain extent.
Yes,
So
thank God we didn't have a lot of bugs to talk about this time.
right. With that being said, let's wrap this puppy up. So, for shout outs, Chad, what do you got?
Thank you for having me on. I'd like to give a shout out to all the hackers out there. Keep doing what you're doing, so find the loopholes and they can get fixed.
All right. Skipjack, you got
Yes,
any
dear.
shout outs?
Yes, I'm going to shout out to a gentleman, and it's going to be a super sexy shout out because I'll know he will watch the show later. I would like to give a super sexy shout out to Peter. I won't say his player name, and I won't give any other information than that, but Peter, you know exactly who you are. Peter spent the better part of last night working with me because he's one of those unfortunate players that got his tune stuck in battle and had been stuck in battle for over 20 hours. So the engineering team picked one player because they have to pick a player that's not really actively online and doing something. I don't understand the whole mechanics of it, but the engineer was able to get into his base because he wasn't online, and they ran a script. So they had me contact that player, and basically he messaged me from his phone and said, I'm on my way home from work, but yes, as soon as I get home, I'll tell you whether or not it worked or not. So we were online and also David too, and Jim was right across from me, and we thought of every kind of combination after the engineers ran the script. So by sitting and literally picking this guy's brain, we got enough information from that poor one player that I think the engineers have it down to a science now, and that they're going to be able to fix it. And so I want to give that shout out to Peter for spending all that time with us. It was after 11:30 our time. Thank goodness he was on the East Coast. 11:30 our time when we finally wrapped it up. And then I was able to gather all that information, my time, put it together, and give it to Bernie and the engineer so they would have it when they came in this morning. So that's my really, really big shout out for him to have the patience to be willing to be like a test bunny, because that's what we needed, and he was willing to be that. Shout out to my alliance. Shout out to my home sector. You guys know who you are. Thank you so much for watching. I saw a few of you in the side chat. For those of you who will watch it later, because it's already tomorrow, your time when the show comes on anyway, thank you so much for your support. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks, David, for everything that you've done to help me with some crazy stuff that was going on, back and forth between the Discord and getting information for Unshackled and getting information out for the players. And the biggest shout out is to my husband, who's sitting across from me, because every single Wednesday that I'm participating on a show, he makes sure I have dinner, I have something to drink, and I don't have to move. So those are my shout outs.
All right. Thank you so much. So, with that being said, my shout outs go to the following everybody that was on the panel tonight. Even though they didn't get to stay too long, we had Fuck You, we had Destry, we had Venom, we had Chad. Am I forgetting anybody? Skipjack, we have you on the panel tonight. Everybody out there watching and putting up with us for the 3 hours we went on. Normally, you all know I like to make these shows short and sweet, but tonight we had a ton of information to go over, along with the discussion group questions and answers. So for all of you that will watch this later, thank you. Just remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Let your friends know about the shows. We try to post on as many pages as we can. I want to give a special shout out to Lady Warrior for posting on a lot of the pages that I am not on. So with that being said, everybody have a good night. Sleep tight. Have your morning cup of coffee for those that are just now waking up. And we'll see you tomorrow with our live show for the event. We're War Commander. We're out.